Gaming news today is all about updates. First, we have an update on Crimson Desert console footage, and I'm not surprised at all. I'm sure folks are going to rush to excuse and defend how this game is still being marketed simply because they're looking forward to it, and that's the only reason you need to defend a game these days. We're going to get into it as well as the PR response that I saw last night, and I had to call it out. Secondly, we are going to be looking at the Starfield update that should be coming this week. There are two parts of this. One, an update with respect to content. Another with respect to the fact that we are likely going to finally get that official PS5 release date announcement this week as well. And third, it has officially been 1 week since the launch of Marathon. We're going to look at where things are currently, how they did over the weekend with the Tau Ceti Cup, and the Marathon Cryo Archive map seems to be getting ready to do something, so we will be discussing that as well. Now, if you're watching this later, be sure to hit that like button and do all the things. People are saying that the light balance is off. Let me do one quick thing to fix that really quickly. I forgot that I was messing with this. There we go. I was messing with the color settings in OBS. Anyways, that should look more like what you are used to. I changed some settings on the camera. Anyways, make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button on the channel. Now, if you're watching this later, we are getting really close. Well, we're getting closer, I should say, to a big goal on the channel. We are trying to get to 600 paying members. That is $5 a month. We're at 528. So it continues to move up, getting closer and closer. So we were in like the 510 range. We're at 528 now, so click join. $5 a month will get you into my Discord as well as a badge and some emotes for you. So, the Crimson Desert console footage continues to be a bit of a controversial subject, which is a little strange, and we are now learning that we will not be getting console footage prior to launch. Well, why? Well, the game is releasing in just a few days, and we have been continuing to ask, and we finally have sort of a definitive answer, and guess what? It didn't come from Pearl Abyss. I know that's probably shocking, given how forthcoming they have been about this situation. We do have PS5 Pro footage running behind me right now that Digital Foundry was able to release, which I believe even within this footage, it is very lopsided. It features almost no big fights or sections with lots of NPCs, and the few sections that do feature those elements, there are clear performance issues. Now, keep in mind, that's been a concern since the early times that they showed this game. They would show fights with the boss where there were 20-something enemies all around. They showed a dragon that was flying with an entire village, and like all these people on the ground. There are fortresses with, 15, 20 enemies around, and you go in and you fight. There's large battles where enemies are seemingly everywhere, and these are all clips and sequences that have been shown about the game regularly in the marketing. Digital Foundry managed to do almost none of that, which is fine. I'm not holding them at fault. Their job is to comb over the game from a tech analysis viewpoint, and they did a perfectly fine job at doing that, looking at the lighting, the water, shadows, etc. 90% of the footage is just sort of slowly walking around or riding around. The few instances like this where they are fighting, there are noticeable issues. I think this is probably the only section where there aren't noticeable issues, but you will notice there's only about 5 enemies, not in the 15 to 20 range. Lots of the footage is simply this, slow pans, the NPCs are not around, and the character is basically by themselves. Even when they are just out in the open world, there's lots of visible pop-in, there's shimmering, there is image quality that ranges from perfectly fine to not that great. Now, this entire time, people have continued to say that Digital Foundry will have base PlayStation 5 footage before launch, as well as, hopefully, Xbox. Now it is sounding like that will not happen. The Digital Foundry Discord server, people were asking questions. John Linneman answered one. This is what the inquiry was. Have you been told if you will get pre-release access to the retail version of Crimson Desert on your own console, or will you be able to test base PS5 footage before release? John replied, quote, I don't think we will because the issue is the activation server, which isn't online yet. Now, I spoke with somebody in the know at Sony, and you cannot install a game to a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 5 Pro console without it going through the certification process. So the PS5 Pro that was shipped to Digital Foundry had the game installed on it, which means it has gone through the certification process. This means they could easily turn on those servers if they wanted to. Their refusal, in my opinion, is by design of the marketing. Pearl Abyss has continued to be evasive, and I would even argue combative when it comes to the topic of console footage. Will Powers has not been just snarky about the topic. I would say he's even been, as I said, combative. I think he's gone beyond just a little bit of snark and sarcasm. I had to add this sort of late to the show because this happened overnight. I believe this is highly irregular for somebody in PR and marketing to behave in this way. He said the following: let them talk. He was responding to somebody on Twitter who said, the haters keep talking about the fact that there's no base console footage. He said, actually, I'm going to put it on screen to make sure that people know I'm not just misquoting him. He says, let them talk. We release specs on all platforms and gameplay on 3 platforms. Let our video team rest. To which I inquired, let them rest from what? Uploading 30 plus minutes of cranked PC footage to the PlayStation channel while asking folks to pre-order? What exactly does your video team need to rest from? Uploading footage that is completely misrepresentative of the final product that most people will enjoy, especially given the average person and the average PC out there in circulation won't come anywhere near the footage that you've uploaded to the PlayStation channel, let alone people with base consoles. Also, I don't know what 3 platforms he's referring to. All we have right now is footage on the PS5 Pro and a ridiculous amount of footage on PC. I don't know what 3rd platform he is referring to. So I don't understand what's going on. Why is it so bothersome and difficult to give PlayStation 5 or Xbox footage to the public so that they can make an informed decision? The game went gold a month and a half to 2 months ago. You could boot the game up right now in your office and record footage, and you refuse to. I could do it right now. It doesn't make me tired. I don't need a little nappy after I actually boot up a game and record footage. I don't understand this idea that you need to be combative to people who just would like to see the game before pre-ordering. This is starting to feel like a willful form of deception. And let me just respond to some of the things that people have been saying. I'm actually glad there are people on Twitter who are now saying this is a massive red flag. I have been saying this for weeks and have gotten a lot of hate and criticism for it, and now people are finally starting to notice that something is amiss with the way this game is being marketed. Many people have responded and said, well, the consoles are just old and they're not strong enough. We heard this same nonsense when Gotham Knights shipped at 30 FPS, and there were all these horrible predictions about, well, this gen is a disappointment and we're going to go back to 30 FPS gaming. And guess what? It never happened. Basically, every other game this gen has come out with perfectly fine performance, many of those games large open worlds, and hitting consistent 60 FPS. Another response I've been seeing, well, this game is just so big and ambitious, the performance issues are understandable. No, they are not. Horizon Forbidden West, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Death Stranding 2, and Ghost of Yotei are all big, beautiful, open-world games that run perfectly fine. They have image quality and art direction that, in my opinion, are superior or at very least on par to Crimson Desert and what it is offering. The only thing I see Crimson Desert doing that those games are not stupidly doing is the incredibly far draw distance that doesn't even seem necessary or game enhancing. It just seems to be hurting performance. Also, loading tons of NPCs in an area. Yes, to be fair, there aren't very many areas in Yotei or Death Stranding or Assassin's Creed Shadows or maybe Horizon Forbidden West where there are that many NPCs around. I would actually argue there are some battles in Horizon Forbidden West that might even be bigger because of the size of the actual robots in addition to all the NPC enemies on the ground. Just basic footage of this game also lets point out the fact that there's pop-in, there's shimmering, there's strange texture anomalies, and there's nothing going on in the game other than the person walking around. Image quality ranges from good to almost blurry depending on the setting. And then when there's loads of NPCs, the frame rate consistently and noticeably takes a dive. So what exactly are you innovating here? Building an overly ambitious and poorly optimized game? Like, who Who really cares if you can jam 20 enemies or townsfolk into an area if that section runs incredibly bad? We were told time and time again in the lead up to this game launching that they had made some kind of a breakthrough with their engine and that it would look amazing and run well. I see zero evidence of that. And those who keep saying just get a PC, well, we'll see how well this game runs on all those 2080 rigs out there, since that's the recommended GPU for PCs. That is their recommended spec, not the high or the low end, right down the middle. I'm sorry if this is a bit of a hot take, but I don't really care if your game is ambitious with draw distance, world detail, and the number of NPCs in a given area if you can't get it to run well. Also, if you consistently hide how the game runs on what most people will experience. I don't find this to be immersive. Any open world game can just throw tons of enemies into an area and make the performance tank. Any video game can decide to make their draw distance go 1,000 yards away for no conceivable reason, which then, of course, hurts the performance of the game. I'm sorry, I do not find any of this impressive. The freedom within the open world and the combat does look promising and does look fun, but if it's weighed down by poor optimization, does it really matter? When innovation isn't paired with optimization, I'm sorry, I'm not interested because I played that game before. We've all played games that got too ambitious and too ahead of themselves, and then they don't run well. Does anybody need a reminder of what happened with Cyberpunk? Immersion into gameplay and open world can 100% be affected by performance issues. To say otherwise is ludicrous. I even waited to play Final Fantasy 16 until I had a PS5 Pro for that very reason. Anything outside of combat and FF16 in the performance mode was awful. Dragon's Dogma 2 also suffered with similar problems, and the fans were not happy, which is why I think the response from so many people is so strange when they say, oh, gamers don't care about this stuff. Yes, they do. If they didn't care, then performance issues would not be a huge mark against games that launch on Steam with respect to the user score, and Pearl Abyss would not be so willfully evasive with their base console footage. If gamers don't care, then just show the footage on the PlayStation channel instead of 30 plus minutes of perfect performance and high visuals on a PC. The most frustrating part about this is that I was really looking forward to this game, and I have to be one of the few people driving home the messaging that you need to hold off on pre-orders given the misleading marketing. I am thrilled that people with large accounts on Twitter are starting to draw attention to the oddities here and the strangeness with which this game has been marketed. This should invite more fans to wait on pre-ordering this game. But when you're one of the only people out here doing this, as I have been, it invites fans and the defense force to accuse me of hating on the game or bashing the game. I would rather warn consumers about marketing and caution against pre-ordering than blindly defend a game and encourage folks to spend their money on something that clearly has problems. If they didn't, they would release the footage. If there were not clear problems, if there were not clear issues, they would show us the game. And they would have done it way before today. That's the other thing that's been driving me crazy about this debate. They have been uploading footage for weeks. It's been marketed for months, if not years. Where is the base console footage? And it's the week that the game is now coming out. There is something, I think, extremely scummy about maximizing your pre-orders on a platform that makes refunds basically impossible once you download the game. I'm speaking with respect to consoles, which is ultimately what I think they want. I think they want to drive pre-orders as high as they can get them, get everybody hyped about the game, as they've been doing with interviews and trailers and social activity. You get everybody hyped, and then they download it day one, and it's too late to get their money back. If Pearl Abyss refuses to supply base-level console footage pre-launch and Digital Foundry is unable to get access pre-launch, then there's nothing left for me to say other than Pearl Abyss has intentionally misled the public and that this game will likely have lots of performance issues on the base-level consoles, and it even has performance issues on the PS5 Pro when there's lots of NPCs around, which is one of the primary things they marketed this game to have. I think this leads to one last ridiculous thing that people have continued to say. Well, this game is clearly made for PC. Just get a PC. Listen, I again can't wait for all the folks with mid-level rigs to try to play this, but also, why do they need to market the game on the PlayStation channel then? If it's such a big PC game, why do they go to the largest console in the market to market the game? I think we know the answer to that. But hey, I'm just somebody who thinks consumers should see the actual product before spending their hard-earned money on it, and Pearl Abyss apparently doesn't agree, and neither does their PR guy on Twitter. But those are just my thoughts. I'm sure we'll have a lively debate about that today. Now, that's not the only thing going on. There's other things going on. I did not want to do an entire show beating this dead horse. I'm happy to discuss the Crimson Desert situation with you guys over the course of the show. But we've got some other things to discuss as well, and one of those things is Marathon. Yes, the dreaded topic of the Marathon player count. While both Friday and Saturday saw no significant movement in player peaks on Steam, which, according to Paul Tassi from Forbes, that is where most players are playing. People keep saying that there's more players on console. That is not true from Bungie themselves. We did see a bit of a bump in the player pool on Sunday, okay? Back to over 62,000 players, which they hadn't seen for a few days. They had been down in the 50,000s on the concurrent player count. Now, bear in mind that Saturday they had the Tau Ceti Cup, and that did not seem to yield any major movement or changes within Twitch viewership once the event was over, and it didn't seem to do anything for the player count as well. At this point, with just 1 week, the momentum has not seemed to pick up. This leaves many questions. If this is in fact the player base, is Bungie happy with that? Many people have said this is a niche game, it's going to have a niche audience. Okay, well, if this is the audience, the question remains, is Bungie and PlayStation, are they happy with that? If this is the player base, will it then hold? Will it not decline in the coming weeks? If it continues to decline, well, then that again is the question. Will Bungie be facing harder decisions if the number simply gets too low? And what will happen to player averages before and then after that first forced seasonal wipe? There are loads of questions, and there's loads of suggestions that have been made, and we do know that the Cryo Archive is unveiling itself, like it's an ARG that is starting. People are combing over the puzzle pieces of Marathon right now to try to figure out how to get into the Cryo Archive. I believe you have to be like level 25 or something. There's some specifications on how to get in there that we will be taking a look at. Now, many suggestions have been made, though. Hey, you should offer a PvE option. You should make the seasonal wipe optional. There are people saying that the game should be free to play. If Bungie is internally happy with where things are, then I expect they're just going to be making adjustments to hone the game around the current core audience. If they're not internally happy with where things are, I expect changes to land in the more drastic department. It could mean layoffs. It could mean big seismic changes like a PvE option or free to play. Many are quick to point out that other games like Hunt Showdown and Tarkov, well, those games don't have big numbers, or they have numbers in a comparative place. Others are also comparing this game to paid games like Battlefield 6, which, yes, Battlefield 6 has seen big declines, but that was from a much larger and clearer level of commercial success at launch. Devs make a pretty good amount of money when their $70 game tops the sales charts. Battlefield 6 sold a record amount of franchise. It was like a record for the franchise. It was like 7 million copies in the first 3 days, and then it continued to sell well after that. That level of revenue generation, and yet they still laid people off when the numbers of Battlefield started to fall, and that game sold a lot. Even the most generous sales estimates for Marathon are nowhere near what Battlefield 6 pulled, so it having more concurrent players on Steam than Battlefield 6 doesn't actually mean all that much. At this point, I feel like we are having sort of a collective moment of all holding our breath. The folks who have insisted every step of the way that this game is fine, I think that they're hoping nothing gets worse. Assurances were made that the game would easily surpass the server slam. It did not. Assurances were made after being high on the Steam top seller charts that it would take over. It did not. Then there are the haters, those who celebrate every time the Steam charts dip a little bit lower. They're holding their breath, hoping that Bungie admits defeat, or worse, they're cheering for people to be laid off or for Bungie to be closed down. Then there are those of us in the middle. I think the game has potential and could make adjustments to open the player funnel and to have broader appeal. Given Bungie's track record and how arrogant they've been about this game since the showcase in early 2025, I feel the odds of them pearl clutching the game as it sinks is even more likely than them making tectonic changes and admitting they were wrong about anything, which is ultimately where I think this game is headed. Slow decline and not enough revenue generation and re-engagement to justify ongoing plans and support. So, all content planned for this game for the year will probably ship, while the numbers continue to slowly trend downward. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this game will be the exception to every live service game rule that we've seen in the last decade, and maybe the Cryo Archive map will be this game's Vault of Glass moment, and maybe that'll buy them some time to turn things around. Now, I severely doubt it, but to those enjoying the game, I hope this game has its moment and it keeps going for your sake. As for me, I'm sitting out unless they make the game more appealing and enjoyable for the rest of us who have already walked away, so I'm sure we can discuss that during the show. Last and very quickly, this is a very quick one, and then we're going to get to the audience, and I'm going to be able to talk with you guys. Make sure you're hitting like and doing all of the things. So we're going to be getting a Starfield update any day. Recently, according to Insider Gaming, quote, Bethesda Game Studios once again invited select creators, but of course to exclusive oh, I'm sorry, they're getting a little snarky there in the quote. They invited selective creators to exclusive previews of Starfield's impending overhaul, giving them a sneak peek at what's in store for the space-faring RPG epic. Okay, now keep in mind, this is the update that Todd Howard said is not Starfield 2.0, and that is largely designed for folks who already enjoyed Starfield. It will not bring folks back who did not like the game or who bounced off the game. Now, you might also remember that before launch, we were promised one expansion per year after launch. Now, they only managed to deliver the Shattered Space in DLC format. That was the only DLC they've launched. That was in 2024. 2025 saw no major updates or content deliverables. Now, this could be related to getting the game ready for the PS5 ship date. Earlier this year, multiple reliable sources said that March would be when they finally announced Starfield for PS5, and that its release date on the formal rival console would be in April. Apparently, this week, we are going to hear something about that. Now, it will likely be twofold. It'll be about the update and this impending expansion that we still haven't seen or heard about, but it will also probably include the announcement about finding its way to the PS5, which, on the heels of the Xbox GDC 2026 doing nothing to re-cement any promise about exclusives, this week will make Asha Sharma's claim of "we hear you" or "hear you" ring a bit hollow, as she said that in response to fans who wanted a return to exclusives. So, will you be checking out Starfield on PS5 or the latest update, or has Starfield had its ship sail for you? I am likely going to skip it unless the update and the revisions are significant enough to pique my interest. This game just felt incredibly bland and boring when I played it, and it doesn't seem to have changed enough to win me back. No shade to the people that enjoyed it, it just didn't do much for me, especially after I played Phantom Liberty and Cyberpunk. I thought that was a superior experience of this type of game. They're similar enough that I thought that was just better, and I could never really get back into Starfield. So for now, we're going to wait and see what they announce this week. And that's the news for today. Thank you guys so much for being here. I believe a lot of the frame rate issues and things that were going on with my coverage, I believe that I have solved those. There will still be like minor things and things going on because it is Windows. But I did notice I had some settings on my one capture card that weren't quite right, and then I switched my my camera to a capture card instead of the Elgato Cam Link, and that should be assisting with some of those things. So I want to start with Crimson Desert because, yeah, I'm a little amped about this situation, but let's get the goal up on the board. We got some people to thank. We got some people who are already going in and getting their things done. We got a prime sum from Tiger Attack, 11 months over there on Purple, and then we got Savage Sharkbite, 55 months and a prime over there on Purple. And then we got Dad of Dads, who resubscribed with a prime for 43 months over there on Purple. And remember, all you fine folks on YouTube, we are working on a paid member goal, and we are working on that because it helps me do this full time. So if you could do that, $5 a month adds to that total. And we are at 528. We're inching closer and closer to 600. So thank you so much, everybody who has taken part in helping us. And Lone Wolf is going to add to the double dip and get us to 4. Now I've got some people to thank on YouTube as well. We got Mr. Biggie Smalls himself with a 34-month renewal, and then 35-month VIP for Mr. Hotshot, another milestone to add. Keep up the great work. Thank you. And then Jack Garland with 44 months says, Lono, you need to say, I'm sick of addressing my FPS issues. Yes, that's how I make them go away. And there it is. Han shot first, and so did you. The first gifted member of the day comes from Dan, and we're already at 8 on the week. You guys went crazy on Saturday. I was a little grumpy because I was getting ready to go hang out on my couch, but I stuck to it. I stuck to the commitment, and I played Slay the Spire 2 with Madam on Saturday night because you guys went crazy and hit stretch. So we'll come up with another fun stretch goal this week as well. Now, Omar is saying in our members-only Discord, he says, bear in mind, I'm not entirely sure about the pushback, but I will offer this as happened to see it last night. There's physical copies floating around in the wild, and people who have them are locked out as well. Yes, I know that's like a handy-dandy, excuse that they're using to say, oh, this is why Crimson Desert, there's not going to be any, base-level console footage. I don't buy that because that's not the first time this has happened. Games leak and games get into the wild all the time. Resident Evil didn't hide their footage, and that happened to them. Dealer of Doom, thank you for using your Prime over there on Purple. And then another Prime comes in from Ant Got No Games. And then Narwaffle with 45 months and a Member Plus over here on YouTube. Thank you. And guys, go through the ritual of hitting the like button. Let's get to 200 likes as quickly as we possibly can. And Dryad Sons with 22 months and Member Plus, will you be playing Crimson Desert on PC or the PS5 Pro? I'll be playing it on the PS5 Pro because that's where I primarily game. I game in my living room. I don't game on my 5070 Ti unless I basically have to. And that's where I'm going to be playing. So I don't really understand where... I also don't know what Will Powers means by this either. I showed his tweet here. He said, we release specs on all platforms and gameplay on 3 platforms. Let our video team rest. I don't know what he's talking about. We only have footage on base level PS5, and we only have footage on PC. I'm sorry, I said that incorrectly. We don't have footage on base PS5 or Series X or Series S. We only have it on the PS5 Pro and PC. That's it. That's all we've got. So I don't understand. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm like, what do you mean that you've released it on 3? You haven't released it on 3. I also don't understand why we have to get snarky and be like, oh, no, yeah, let them rest, let people talk. What do you mean? What do you mean let people talk? They're literally asking for footage so that they can make an informed decision as a consumer. There's no hate there. Nobody's out of line asking for that. Yeah, I have a 5070 Ti rig right over there. I've got what's the one I stream on, a 4060? I've got 2 perfectly good rigs and computers, and I just choose to game on console. It's what I prefer. I don't know why this is doing this. Their video is like really, really acting up. I don't get this at all. I don't know. Maybe it's like jittering on YouTube for some reason. Anyways. Yeah, it keeps pausing on YouTube. I'm not sure what the issue is. 42 months from Bumblepants says, shout out to the video team that needs a rest. I feel so sad for them. It must be difficult. Thank you so much for 42 months, Mr. Bumblepants. Yeah, the thing is it's just gotten to an absurd level. It's gotten to an absurd level. It's like, what? Like, nobody is being a hater. Nobody is being mean. Nobody is being unkind. That's the thing that's driven me crazy about my coverage of this, is people are like, oh, you're being mean. You're being a hater. And it's like, no, I'm not. I don't think footage like this is compelling. I think footage like this is cool, but footage like this isn't compelling. It's like all these slow pans and walking around. And then it's like, and then when people ask for footage, you're like, just let our video team rest. What do you mean let your video team rest? All the video footage that came out last week came from Digital Foundry. You guys didn't do any work on that. You released 30 plus minutes of PC footage on the PlayStation YouTube channel, and the footage is cranked. It looks unbelievable. It looks ridiculous. You haven't done anything since. Like, when's the last like major piece of edited footage that we've got from them? All the footage that we got last week, they didn't do a single thing for it. That was all Digital Foundry's work. That was John Linneman's work. He played the game for over 20 hours and captured footage and uploaded it. Now, I don't understand why John is saying this game is so technically impressive. The more I watch the footage, the more problems that I see. It's like you've got visible texture issues, you've got flickering issues, you've got issues that are obvious with pop-in. Then, the minute there's lots of NPCs around, performance tanks. And it's like, what do you want me to say to that? That's one of the things that you marketed the game on. Go watch any of the trailers. They were consistently showing that. Like, yeah, here's like 20 enemies in this fortress or this castle or this battle or this boss fight. Sorry, some of us need to spend our own money to play this game. Right. Massive open worlds feel too bloated and chores to play, in my opinion. It's why I couldn't get into AC Valhalla. I totally get where you come from on that. I know there are people who feel like open world fatigue. I totally get that. I don't think this game is necessarily going to be the cure-all for you if you have some, feelings about open world. Like, if you don't like them anymore. You don't understand why the Pro is impressed? That sentence doesn't make any sense. There was nothing impressive about the footage on the Pro. I didn't think so. I've played open world games that look as good, if not better than this, and they perform perfectly fine. If we're going to sit here and justify the pop-in, why? Why justify the pop-in and the texture stuff? Why? Listen, homie, I've played games that look like this. This isn't revolutionary. What are you talking about? I can boot up Assassin's Creed Shadows right now. I can turn on ray tracing, global illumination, and it looks, I would say, better than this. I think the lighting is actually better in AC Shadows with RTGI. This looks too universal. Part of the problem is the draw distance. Having that level of detail of texture, it almost flattens the world out. It's like everything looks like almost like too detailed at too far a distance. It looks bizarre. I don't think this looks that impressive compared to other games that have come out. It looks good. I'm not saying it looks bad. I'm saying compared to other games that have come out, I don't see anything in here to justify performance issues. I don't. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, yeah, it looks nice. The lighting looks nice. The shadows look nice. There's jittering. There's stuttering. There's texture pop-in. There's all this weird oddities within the game's performance, and I don't see anything to justify it. I'm like, I've played plenty of open world games that have this level of fidelity right now. The only thing this game seems to be doing that other open world games don't do is the draw distance seems absurdly far, which doesn't make any sense. Like, why do you need to have the draw distance so far out, especially if it's going to cause issues with performance? If it's going to cause like a jittering, stuttering issue or texture pop-in, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It's like, why make it go out that far? That's one thing that I'm noticing they're doing that like other open world games aren't doing. The other thing I'm noticing this game does that other open world games don't do is they put like 20 or 30 people in an area, and in both of these instances the game doesn't perform that well. So sure, you can make it look great when you stand still and pan the camera, or when you stand still in an environment or just like ride a horse around. But outside of that, it's like, I don't see anything revolutionary in this game at all, and it's being talked about like it's the second coming. Hang on, what did you say, Derek? The chat's moving a mile a minute. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button. Get us to 200 likes. All the greenery in this game looks like GameCube-era graphics. Every branch dances a little wiggle. It's silly. Yeah, that was something that Madam pointed out the first time she laid eyes on this game. Like, I will never say this looks bad. This looks totally fine. This does not look good enough to justify all the performance issues. It's like, I don't know what to tell you. Horizon Forbidden West and Yote and Death Stranding 2 and Assassin's Creed Shadows. I mean, even right there, I just spotted another weird thing. Watch. Was it on the rock on the right? Yeah, on the right. Watch this rock on the right. Watch this rock right here that I'm circling. Just watch it. The texture just randomly changes. Burp, like, what the heck is that? That's what I'm saying. There's every piece of footage that I've watched, the more I've watched it, the more I've combed over it. I'm like, I'm seeing stuff, seeing weird things go on. You've put this in chat like 18 times, so I'm going to read it, Mike. For all the crap that Dragon Age Veilguard got, the game looks stellar graphically. Like, look at all the environments and armors and weapons. Congratulations, I read your comment. Yes, the graphics were fine in Veilguard. It was also a much more contained game, and the areas and the arenas that you fought in were completely scaled down compared to a game of this size. I don't know why you keep saying that, but there you go. There's your attention that you ordered. I read your comment. Are you going to be playing on the base console at launch to show us how it runs? I mean, I could install it on 2 different consoles. I still have a base PlayStation 5. I have 2 Pros and a base PS5. Sorry, I didn't mean to spam it. I just noticed you had put it in chat like 5 times. No offense, Mike. It's not relevant to the conversation. Like, who cares about Veilguard at this point? We're talking about a completely different game and completely different delivery in the genre. I wonder if the draw distance is actually having an impact on it. or if it's just a clever technique that they are using. I guess ray tracing is taking more of a toll, says Omar. That said, the pop-in is killing me. Yeah, I mean, again, and people got so mad at me. They're like, you didn't even watch the full video. And I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. What did you want me to do exactly? You wanted me to watch the sections about the water. I'm fixing myself in the cam circle, by the way. There we go. You wanted me to watch the sections about the water? Like, yes, the water looks cool, but again, there's really, really good and impressive water in Horizon Forbidden West. There's really impressive and good-looking water in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Again, I've played open-world games with good-looking water. Now, that's probably the most impressive part. I think this might be the most impressive part, and I don't know if enough people have necessarily talked about this section. The depth with which the water is, like, you can see through it, and then it sort of stops because of the light. That actually looks really, really cool. Like, I actually think this is probably the best section about the water is this section right here. And this section here, I mean, it looks absolutely stunning. But again, I played open world games like Horizon Forbidden West, the Burning Shores DLC. I played Death Stranding 2 and Ghosts of Yotei and Assassin's Creed Shadows, and they all, I think, within their own right, look good. You know what they didn't do? They didn't struggle with performance. They all ran fine. Like, you know what I mean? Here we go, morning crying. No, let me show you who's crying. Apparently, the video team at Pearl Abyss needs a nap. They need a little nap and a little bottle. They're tired. Apparently they release specs on all platforms. Remember when I told you guys that's what they were going to do? Remember? Do we need to pull receipts? I said when Will Powers said we will reveal things prior to launch. I said when he said we'll reveal things, I told you guys, I said I bet you $10 they're going to release specs and they're going to count that. They're going to say, well, we release specs, so that's good enough. No, it's not. Anybody can release specs, bro. Anybody can release specs. It doesn't mean you're actually going to hit those specs. Specs are numbers on a piece of paper. I could put specs on a piece of paper and be like, hey, guys, on Tuesday, I'm going to have 10,000 concurrent viewers. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. And then when he says they've released gameplay on 3 platforms, no, you haven't. We only have seen gameplay on PC and the PS5 Pro, and even then, the PS5 Pro footage didn't come from Pearl Abyss. It came from Digital Foundry. The other Digital Foundry guy said that the ray tracing was baked in at 1/6 the standard. I didn't really understand that, and it's in the PC update video. I think the game looks good. I don't see anything graphically with respect to lighting, shadows, or the world detail or the foliage. I don't see anything that justifies the performance issues. It looks fine. It looks totally fine. It's not that it looks bad. It's like I don't see a game that justifies the performance issues. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why are we hand waving? We're like, it's a big open world game. Yeah, I played a lot of those this gen, and they didn't have egregious performance issues and like pop in and texture and shimmering and everything else. I don't know what you want. There are pretty big battles in Horizon Forbidden West with like giant dino-sized like robots as well as people on the ground, and they ran fine. I don't know what to tell you. If you have all the praise for the PS Pro, you shouldn't worry about performance. If that's the case, get a PC. I don't understand why people like you talk and think that you're making sense. I've played plenty of games on the Pro that were open world and gorgeous and didn't have performance issues. I shouldn't have to run to PC. That narrative is so bogus. It's like, what are you talking about? I have a 5070 Ti rig right there. I didn't buy it so that I could come in here and like basically hide and be like, oh, I'm going to play in my office instead of my living room. This is my studio. I don't come in here to game. I come in here to work. You know what I mean? The people that want to get all like puff their chest out about how PC is so much better, I wonder what rig you're going to play on. Like, are you going to play on a rig that even does any good? What are you talking about? Pearl Abyss has showed Crimson Desert on 3 formats, mid-range, high-range, ultra-spec PCs. No, they have not done that. You're also now just making things up. They did not say, here's the game on 3, he says 3 platforms. He didn't say formats, and that's not a format. That's a setting change. You're using words that don't even apply. What are you talking about? Booting up a game and showing it with like different settings, that's not a format. That's a setting change. That's not what he said anyway. He said 3 platforms. PC and PS5 Pro, you don't get extra platforms out of that just because you change settings on the PC. A $5 super chat from Forget Me Not. I need open world games with purpose. Games like Breath of the Wild and Just Cause where you can do anything for no reason always bored me and made me roll my eyes. I mean, I loved Breath of the Wild and I loved Elden Ring, and apparently this game delivers a great open world. That's one of the reasons why it'll probably not age great in the first couple of weeks, but then in like a month or so, I would imagine it's going to have people saying, okay, it's in a better place. It's in a better place. It's like we can now say that the game is playable, right? That happened with Jedi Survivor. Like Jedi Survivor was like virtually unplayable at launch. On PC, it still doesn't have a great score, but on console, it was jittering and stuttering and screen tearing like crazy. It took them 4 months to fix the performance mode of Jedi Survivor. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Stretch Armstrong reaches. I know, being like, oh, there's different formats. There's different formats. What do you mean different formats? They booted up the game on PC and changed settings. That's not a format change. Oh, you were being sarcastic. Oh my. I was like, what are you saying? I was like, that was the weirdest comment. I wouldn't mind a spec sheet from a well-known team, but Pearl Abyss is fairly unknown and Will Powers should know that. A spec sheet doesn't mean anything unless, again, I guess what you're saying is somewhat true. Like if Insomniac dropped a spec sheet for Wolverine, yeah, I would take it to the bank and cash it. But like these guys, like, what are they known for? They're known for Black Desert Online, which they spent a bunch of time making it run better, but it has its own sordid history of performance issues from everybody I've spoken to that have played it. Why are they defending this? Listen, I said it in my show open. You being excited for a game and that being your grounds to defend it, I gotta tell you, that's weird energy. It's like, it's okay to be excited for the game, but I don't see how you could defend the marketing. I don't see how you could defend this level of performance the minute there's lots of enemies around. It like drops from the 60 FPS that it's supposed to hit down into the 30s and 40s. There's nothing even really going on. He's not fighting. He's not using his magic abilities that create particle effects. It's just a bunch of bugs flying around. There are other instances just like this where there's like right here, like this is a common thing in all of the trailers, a fight where there's lots of NPCs around, and look at the frame rate. Anytime you go to a town, castle, fortress, village, battle, whatever, if there's lots of NPCs around, that's what awaits you. You're fighting like this in the open world where there's nothing really around but like 3 or 4 guys. Yeah, it's locked in 60. That's great. That's the issue, is I don't think people are looking at the performance issues and thinking about it in a clear way. It's like they marketed this game multiple times as like, here's a fortress you can invade by catapulting off of a tree, and there's like 20 guys around. Do you really want to go into that instance and have it, your frame rate drop like by 20? You're ignoring the Digital Foundry said that there are a lot of NPCs and it's because of the CPU. Am I ignoring that? No, I'm not ignoring that. Do you think that makes a situation better or worse? Are you adding to my side of the argument, or are you defending the game? Do you think you're defending it by saying that? A $10 super chat from Dune. I'm excited for this game, but I still remember when Cyberpunk was released. They claimed it would run perfectly on all platforms. They released and it was unplayable on console. I'll wait and see to buy. Here's the thing. I am so glad that other people are picking this up and running with it. I am so glad that I am now not alone in saying this is a massive red flag, right? Mr. Kiwi Talks is saying, the fact that devs won't show base PS5 and Series S and X footage for this game gives me serious red flags. Thank you. 400,000 views. Spread the dadgum word. Let people know that they're marketing this game in a misleading way. They're being dishonest. Ecstasis, there's drama. The PR representative for Crimson Desert claims they've already shown gameplay on 3 platforms and asks, let our video team rest, in response to the request for gameplay on base PS5 and Xbox. Strange attitude after asserting that we'd see it. Thank you, Ecstasis, for pointing this out. This needs to be pointed out. They kept making assurances. I had to hear from people week in, week out. They're going to show footage. Why don't you relax? They're going to show footage. Quit crying. Yeah? You still feeling good about that? You still feeling good about that footage, the alleged footage we're going to get? Homie says their video team needs a rest. They're not even the ones that released footage last week. Digital Foundry did. What does your video team need a rest from? What are they doing? What are they doing right now? They can't put together a video? YouTubers put together videos every single day by themselves. Sometimes they might have one editor. You have a team and you can't put together a trailer or footage or a montage or anything of the base level console footage? What do you need rest from? Lying to the public on the PlayStation channel? Like, I don't understand. Hang on. True SSJ Havoc with a $5 super chat tip says, to whoever feel like they need to defend this game, if you're playing on PC, play on PC and shut up. He's talking about the base console specifically. Oh, I can't wait for people to play it on PC and have their own performance issues. Because if you think this game's going to run flawless on PC, the only footage we've seen now on PC have been really strong PCs. You have a comrade? Who is this? News. Digital Foundry explains that no footage. Yeah, this is why I was covering this today. No footage from PS5 and Series console versions of Crimson Desert will be shown before release. On their Discord, one of the team members explains that the game requires server activation to launch, and consequently it won't be possible for them or other creators to stream the console gameplay before the game's release. But then why Digital Foundry were able to play the PS5 Pro gameplay? Well, they shipped them a PS5 Pro. It's worth noting that the game footage shared with the PS5 Pro was tested on a console provided to Digital Foundry by Pearl Abyss with the game pre-installed. They therefore don't have to key install. A lack of transparency that raises questions just days before the game's release. I am so glad that so many people are picking this up and spreading the word, because I've been saying this for weeks. The marketing for this game is misleading. It's super weird. They're being evasive. Anytime a developer is like not wanting to show you something and having every excuse in the book for not showing you the game, that's a cause for concern. It doesn't mean the game is going to be garbage. It doesn't mean the game is going to be trash. It means you should approach with caution if you're wanting to play this game day one. Relax, Lono, they need more memes, but seriously, all the obfuscation on their part is playing out horribly and turning me off from the game. Hope it all turns out well for the end. I think your concerns are valid, says Snake. I feel like you're being overly critical. Most games only give out about 3 trailers. They are confident enough in their game to let people play and talk and send it to Digital Foundry before release. How many other games do this much? So you think I'm being overly critical because they uploaded over 30 minutes of footage to the PlayStation channel, 3 separate videos, adding up to over 30 minutes of footage, and it's all PC footage that has been cranked. It looks incredible. It looks like the average person's not going to experience that because they're either going to be on like a mid-level rig or they're going to be on a base-level console. So how am I being overly critical? I don't understand. I keep getting people saying that. They're like, I kind of get where you're coming from, but you're being overly critical. What do you mean? We have been here before. I've covered this industry for over a decade. How many times are we going to let studios do these shenanigans? They won't show you the game on your console and they want your money. It's absurd. It's an absurd proposition. They could have released a launch trailer. They didn't have to show this much gameplay. What? Okay, Snake, you are looking at this from the complete wrong end. They've shown this much gameplay, and the gameplay itself is not representative of what the average person is going to enjoy. The average person does not have a PC that they use to record the footage. The average person is going to be playing this on a rig or a console that will not experience the gameplay they've shown. So the quantity of the gameplay means nothing. If anything, the quantity of the gameplay adds to the deception. It's like, I told you guys this. Oh my gosh, what did I say? I said, he is going and doing all these interviews, and they have all this gameplay footage on PlayStation. You want to know why? They're overcompensating. They are trying to have the appearance of transparency, and yet they're not being transparent. I called this from a mile away. I said, I know what they're doing. I've been doing this too long to not sense the oddity and the strangeness. It's like you're trying to give the appearance of transparency. You're doing preview events, 30 plus minutes of footage, and he did a whole round of interviews. And every single time the optimization on console question came up, it was, oh, well, we're still working on it. It was a total dodge. And he said in multiple instances that people would be able to, I don't know how he phrased it on the podcast, but on Twitter he said, we will reveal things prior to launch so people can make a decision. And by reveal things, he meant, well, we'll have a spec sheet available for you. A spec sheet doesn't mean anything. You could put anything you want on that. It doesn't mean it's going to happen in the game. We've seen plenty of games do this. They have a spec sheet. And here's the other thing that really drives me crazy about the Digital Foundry footage. The minute there's a lot of NPCs on the screen, it's like as soon as the camera starts to pan, it's like it cuts. It's like, I don't understand. And then look, as soon as he comes in here and pans the camera, he stops, turns it slowly, and it's like obviously just observing. And then the minute you have lots of NPCs like this, I can tell that the frame rate is not. Look at that. Look at that camera pan. Every time there's lots of enemies or NPCs on the screen, the performance and the frame rate is noticeably not 60. You'll notice there's no frame rate measurement here. There's no frame rate grid to show us what we're getting. This is one of the 5 instances in the trailer where the actual lighting effects on the guy is really cool. Did you guys see that? That's actually cool. Look when he hits him with the sword. Watch. It like leaves a burn mark on the side. Look at how the burn marks are like on him, on the actual model of the giant. That's actually really cool. But there's 5 instances in this Digital Foundry footage where there's lots of NPCs on the screen, and every single instance the frame rate is bad. It's like I can visibly see that the frame rate is not staying stable. It's not at 60. 1 minute you're saying the footage looks cranked and incredible, the next you're saying it doesn't look anything special. You do seem to be contradicting yourself fairly frequently, only to those who don't understand nuance, so allow me to help you. When I say the footage looks cranked and incredible, it means they have turned every level of detail, lighting, shadows, draw distance, all the way as high it can possibly go. And many people have said it looks too good to be true. Now, when I watched the Digital Foundry video, I was like, I don't see anything here that justifies the performance issues. So when you rip my comments out of context, you can fabricate a false contradiction. You're not reading or hearing my words in context. When I said the game didn't look that impressive, I'm saying it doesn't look impressive enough to justify performance issues. I've seen games with good lighting and shadows and open world and lots of NPCs, and they don't struggle with performance. I've played those games, just like riding around, and you don't have like weird texture anomalies and shimmering and popping. Do you know what open world game looked really bad whenever you were like just roaming around the world? Star Wars Outlaws. That's an example of a game that like the minute I was just riding around on my speeder, it looked bad. It was like, what the heck is going on? If you stood still, it looked fine. I know what you're saying, but it doesn't come across as consistent to me. I'm not really concerned about coming across as consistent to somebody who took 2 statements from their context and contrasted them. When I'm talking about the PC footage being cranked and looking impressive, that doesn't mean that the game itself is impressive enough to justify performance issues. Does that make sense? It's like the actual footage that they use to market it is cranked. They've got the settings all the way cranked up to wow everybody and to get everybody really excited. And it does. It looks really good. All that PC footage looks good. I have not once said that the footage looks bad. I'm saying it doesn't look impressive enough to justify the performance issues. Like weird texture pop-in anomalies and shimmers. Like and the image quality looks good sometimes, and other times it looks kind of muddy and blurry. I don't see a game that looks visually impressive enough to justify those performance issues. Everybody keeps talking like, well, it's an open world game and the graphics are incredible, so the performance issues are understandable. I'm like, no, they're not. Go play Yote. Go play AC Shadows with Ray Tracing GI turned on. Go play Death Stranding 2. Go play Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores. There's nothing in this that I see is like, it's so much better than those games that it's okay, it's running poorly. Do you understand? Like, if you actually look at this game compared to other high-fidelity open-world games, it's not worlds better. It's like, yeah, it looks good, but it doesn't justify the performance issues. Your inability to understand nuance is not Lono's problem. He's being kinder than I would be. Thank you, Zubair. Elden Ring and the DLC was plagued with performance issues, but most people didn't care and played it anyway, despite some negative reviews. Could Crimson Desert be another example of that? Well, I mean, I don't know. I think FromSoft's in a very unique camp because FromSoft kind of has this like baked-in fan base. So I was critical of Night Rain at launch. It didn't have cross-play and it didn't have voice comms. So it was like, I was like, imagine EA or Ubisoft, imagine like Marathon releasing in that state. Imagine another game like that that's entire premise is multiplayer and it's not cross-play and there's no voice comms. Any other studio would have been been heavily ridiculed for that. FromSoft just totally got away with it. Why? Well, FromSoft's got like a crazy, rabid, super loyal fan base, right? Don't cross them. They'll come for you, okay? They're wild. They're crazy. You know, praise the sun. God love you guys, but you're a little weird, okay? So the FromSoft fan base is also, I think, accustomed to an engine that just consistently might have hitches and frame pacing issues. Like, it's just a common thing that they kind of have to eat around, and eventually things get patched and smoothed over. Like, Elden Ring at launch had a handful of issues. I mean, you had to play the PS4 version on the PS5 to get the most consistent performance out of it. Like, that's how Elden Ring shipped. I think the difference is when you ship a game like this that's trying to visually wow people, it's trying to visually wow them, I actually think people are going to be more scrutinous. I do. I don't think the PC fans especially are going to accept if the game is poorly optimized and runs bad. Now, if it runs well on PC and it's optimized well for like weaker hardware and the PC boys can go in and tweak and turn things off, it'll probably get a favorable score. I think the biggest advantage that PC has is they'll be able to go in and turn ray tracing off. I think. I don't know if that's been confirmed. You can't turn ray tracing off on console. That's one of the biggest concerns I have. It's just always there. It's just always there. It's either at like, if you look at the spec sheet, I think it's like on the base consoles, it's ray tracing light or something. They use like a weird phrase. Let me see if I can find it. Crimson Desert spec sheet. Let's see if I can get you a picture here. Yeah, here we go. Console specifications. So, not light. I'm sorry. Ray tracing low. The PlayStation 5, the base PS5, ray tracing's always on. Ray tracing low. The PS5 Pro, it's always ray tracing high or ultra. So that's an issue on consoles. Like, you can't turn that off. Now, I don't know. Actually, the Series S ray tracing is off. Okay, so that communicates to me. You'll be able to, let's get the PC specs. Let's see if we can get that up on screen here, and let's see if it says anything about ray tracing. I don't see any comments here about ray tracing. Maybe down there in the bottom. Performance may vary based on PC hardware and software configuration. Yeah, I would say at this point it's safe to bet that is an advantage you're going to have on PC. Like, win for the PC boys, you're going to be able to turn off ray tracing. The guys on console are just stuck. It's like it's just always on. It is. It's like, well, that's gonna make performance tough. I mean, I remember we were following sort of the marketing of Gotham Knights, and you guys remember we went back to like early Gotham Knights trailers, and then all of a sudden the trailers started looking different, the gameplay started looking different, and we're like, I wonder what happened, you know. And it arguably, I think, looked better in the older trailers. It was kind of weird, and then it became known that Gotham Knights had baked ray tracing into the whole game's lighting system, and then it became known it was going to be 30 FPS. And everybody did the same thing back then. Not everybody, but a lot of people did the same thing back then. They said, oh, yep, the consoles aren't strong enough. We're headed back to 30 FPS. We're headed back to 30 FPS. And I was like, no, we're not. We're not headed back to 30 FPS games. And since Gotham Knights, what have we got? We have got great games running at 60 FPS. You can play AC Shadows on a base PS5 or a Series X, and AC Shadows runs great. You can play, Yote. You can play Death Stranding 2. You can play Horizon Forbidden West. These games all run perfectly fine. No major flaws or issues. They're not 30 FPS games. I heard the discourse that 30 FPS was good back then. Yeah, that was the other thing, is people like, what's the problem with 30 FPS? We played 30 FPS on our previous gen all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's acceptable. Like, what the heck? The entire point of this gen is that we're not supposed to be playing 30 FPS anymore. Ray tracing should be shamed. It always ruins the FPS for slightly better visuals. Not worth it. I don't agree with you, and I used to agree with you. I used to think that ray tracing was a gimmick. I used to think, well, all ray tracing is going to do is tank my performance. It's a stupid gimmick, right? I thought that for a very, very long time. I don't think that anymore, especially after experiencing ray tracing global illumination. I think it's one of the biggest visual lifts for a game that I've experienced. It immediately lifts the visuals of the game. It just looks really, really good. If you go look at the Assassin's Creed Shadows side by side, when GI is turned on, global illumination, when GI is turned on versus when it's not, it looks like a different game. It is a massive visual lift. Now, here's the thing. It's not going away, and the reason developers like it is it helps with development time. It speeds up the lighting process. It automates a lot of the lighting work. I did a quick test in Forbidden West, and I went to a heavily populated area with NPCs to test performance. It's running at dynamic 1800 with locked FPS. Let me open this video file, and let's take a look. Now, this isn't the best video file, all right, because I think you probably like recorded this on the PC. Are you noticing something? Are you noticing something? Now, the recording is not good. It's not good. But so ignore the recording. Look at the lighting. Look at the shadows. Look at the number of NPCs. Do you still think that Crimson Desert is doing something that's never been done before? Look at this area. Look at the density of NPCs. There's tons of people around, all packed in to one building. All packed into one building with lighting and shadows and I would say highly detailed environments. If you've played Horizon Forbidden West, you know that these areas and Aloy and all the characters are highly detailed. I notice it's indoors, so there's that. I mean, I guess that's true, that it doesn't have to do like a super far draw distance outside. But like, that's what I'm saying. This isn't new territory. Like, I don't know why people are acting like Crimson Desert is doing something unprecedented. It's like, what are we talking about? Like, this is stuff that's been done before. This isn't new. Hang on, I need to fix my main cap now. There we go. Decima's top tier. Decima's a great engine. Guerrilla's great developers. We know this. We know this. They don't react to anything, do they? I mean, I guess that might be the contextualization of why it works so well in the Guerrilla game and why it might not work well. It's kind of similar to what happened in Dragon's Dogma 2, right? Like, all of the townspeople were thinking, right? You know, and that was the problem. There's no action going on. It's not that impressive. I'm not saying it's impressive. I'm saying it's been done before. It's been done before. Like, having a lot of NPCs in an area isn't the issue. The issue more than likely is, remember, this happened in Dragon's Dogma 2. You would go to a town, and your performance would just tank. And everyone was like, what the heck is going on? Well, it turns out the NPCs were all thinking. They were using CPU power because they're not just like a static person standing there going through like an animation ritual. It's an NPC that you can likely like shove, attack, talk to, whatever. And we know that in these instances in Crimson Desert, that is something that they're promising, like an open world and towns and villages where you're gonna be able to like kind of like interact with people. Here's the thing. I don't even know if that's true, because from the preview event, I think some of the guys said a lot of the townspeople, it was like an MMO. They just kind of stood there and didn't do anything. So there are some townsfolk where they can interact with you and have like a quest and have like a random interaction. But there are plenty of NPCs in Crimson Desert that just kind of stand there. They were basically saying like it's a lot like the MMO vibe when you like go to a town. And a lot of the NPCs are there just for like the visual filler of like, hey, it's a town with lots of people. You're comparing a game that uses resources in isolated spaces with a massive map and real-time moving Crimson Desert. Again, I think people keep saying things like that. I don't see anything in the Crimson Desert footage that justifies the performance issues. Sorry. I've played plenty of open world games and plenty of games with lots of NPCs around, and they all perform fine. This game certainly does a crazy amount of draw distance. I actually don't think that that's necessary. And then they jam a bunch of NPCs into an area. Did you watch the new Digital Foundry video? They talk about performance at the end of the video. Which video are you referring to? Like, are you talking about the one where they put all the footage out on PS5 Pro, or did they mention it again in something else? I have watched this video 10 times over, brother. This video is 90% slow pans and stuff like this. Like, this is not a test of performance. There are 5 instances in this video. This video is close to 30 minutes long. There are 5 instances where there are lots of NPCs on the screen. Okay? 5. 4 of those instances, there's visible performance issues. Like, you can tell that it's struggling. The rest of this video is just all this. It's like either analyzation of like jittering or oddities within the graphics, or just like slow pans of, you know, vistas and skylines to show off like the lighting and the draw distance and the world detail, which at some level the tech's impressive. It is. Like, if you look at these rocks and stuff, you're like, yeah, that's pretty impressive. Like the shadow detail on all the individual rocks and stuff. But watch what happens right here. We're in a densely populated area with lots of NPCs, and watch what happens. He's going to pan the camera and frame rate goes to crap. Well, now we got to stop. We got to get out of there. Even here, there's a bunch of weird oddities and visual pop-in, and there's nothing going on, and then we're done. I'm telling you, the jittering could be because of PSSR, and that could be fixed with PSSR 2. That's totally true. John Linneman was very impressed by the tech in the game. He also said he doesn't typically enjoy open world games, and he really, really liked this one. I think some of that affected sort of like his overall view, which I guess you could take comfort in that like he played, thinks the tech's impressive, and he had a fun time. That's not the question, though. That's not the issue. The issue is performance going to be consistently bad when there's lots of NPCs around? Because if you go watch the 3 trailers they put on PlayStation, they're commonly showing you in these big, huge battles. You can like grab a tree and like launch in, and there's like 20 guys around. There are these fights with the boss, and there's like 20 guys around you while you are fighting the boss. There are instances where you're in like almost like a raid, like in Valhalla, where you're like running and there's all these guys everywhere fighting. There's instances where you're like on a dragon and you're breathing fire and there's all these people down below on the ground. Do you see? It's like those instances are nowhere in this video. Those instances are constantly in the videos that they put out to market the game. And I'm like, if those are supposed to be the awesome, exciting moments, like go listen to any preview. Go listen to even Linneman talk. One of the shining points of this game is the combat. If the combat feels great, but anytime I get into a fight and there's more than 4 or 5 people around, performance tanks, that's going to be incredibly disappointing. One of the reasons I was able to put up with some of the performance issues in Final Fantasy 16 when I played it on my Pro was because as soon as I went into combat, it ran perfectly fine. It was a stable 60. Image quality got not great in some of the icon fights because there was too much going on and the dynamic resolution got a little blurry. But overall, performance was fine. Like 60 FPS, nice smooth movements, nice smooth action. Like nice smooth action. So if this is going to be your performance, if you go to raid a town or a village or something and there's lots of people around, lots of enemies around, if the performance starts to drop into the 40s and the 30s of frame rate, that's going to be really, really frustrating. It's not going to be fun to play those instances. That's something that I've been trying to draw people's attention to. It's like, that's one of the selling points of the game, and you guys are like hand-waving that and being like, oh, but some performance issues are fine. I'm like, some performance issues are fine. Like, that's one of the primary things people say are so great about this game is the combat. Crimson Desert will be the second biggest game of the year, and Lona will have spent hours and streams yelling about it. Just because the game is popular right now doesn't mean any of my predictions are going to end up false. Message retracted. Yeah, I'm not surprised you retracted that comment. To be fair, he said the Bug Hill area was the worst in his 20 hours. He also said it was rare to have a lot of NPCs on the screen. And I'm like, but the marketing doesn't indicate that at all. So what was he doing? What was he doing? I don't know where he was, and I don't know what he was doing in the game. All I know is in almost 30 minutes of footage that Digital Foundry uploaded, there's only 5 instances of lots of NPCs around. And 4 of those instances have frame rate trouble. He just doesn't talk about it. There are numerous times in the video where he's showing a crowd and the frame rate's dropping, but he doesn't comment because he's talking about something else. Have you been liking Yote Legends? I beat all of the missions and all of the bosses. It's really, really fun. I haven't gone back in since. I think I beat the final, couple of things I needed to do on Saturday. Now I maybe want to play back through it again with the other classes. Lone Wolf says, here's the thing. Even if John is right and most of the game isn't the really big fights, that's still misleading because that was the center of their marketing. That's a very fair point that Lone Wolf is making. That's a very, very fair point that Lone Wolf is making. Just watch the latest Digital Foundry video. Listen, if you guys are going to come in and give me homework in defense of the game, I've done my homework. You need to do yours. I don't need to go watch another Digital Foundry video. I've watched and rewatched this 30-something minute video from Digital Foundry. This is from DF right here. I've watched and rewatched this so many times. I don't need to go watch anything else. I also know that John Linneman from Digital Foundry said they will not be giving base level console footage out before the game launches. They're not going to be able to do that. That was something that people kept assuring me was going to happen. Don't you think it's funny how the goalposts have moved every week for the people defending this game? It was no. They're gonna reveal. They're gonna show us gameplay. They're gonna show us gameplay, Lono, on the base consoles, and they give us a spec sheet. And what did everybody say? No, that's fine. That's them revealing. That's adequate information. What? No, it's not. Then the PS5 Pro footage hits. Oh no, that counts, Lono. That counts. That's console footage. That's the smallest fraction of the consoles out there. It also happens to be the strongest one. Also, the way they received the footage was incredibly bizarre. And we're not going to get base level console footage. They're not going to give it to you. I don't know what to say. If that doesn't cause concern or worry or hey, maybe I shouldn't pre-order this game. I mean, they talked about it on the new Digital Foundry video. I don't care. I don't care. I watched the footage. I watched them analyze it, and I've rewatched it and rewatched it and rewatched it. I don't need to go listen to them talk about it. That's not going to tell me anything. I've also seen John Linneman in the Digital Foundry Discord say, we aren't going to get base level footage out. And we kept getting assurances from the defense force of Crimson Desert that would happen pre-launch. No, he said we're going to get base footage, Lono. We're going to get it. Are you sure about that? Don't you think it's interesting that he kept saying things to give you the impression that base console footage was going to come out, and people were running to my comments in my stream saying base console footage was going to come out, and now that the truth comes out that you're not going to get base console footage, people are acting like that's okay? You don't think that there's a problem there? Tons of people were given the impression that base level console footage would be available pre-launch. And now the reality is settling in that you're not going to get base level console footage. So you got to pretzel yourself into justification of well, that's okay. I thought about buying it, but I'm still rocking a base PS5. Not going to now until I see how it runs. They made a next-gen game. It needs next-gen hardware. I've played plenty of next-gen games. That's another weird platitude that people trot out. What's next-gen about a game that's poorly optimized? Why is that next-gen? Was it next-gen when Dragon's Dogma had tons of NPCs in a town all simultaneously thinking and it tanked performance? Was that next-gen? I've played plenty of next-gen games. Death Stranding 2 is an incredible-looking next-gen game. Ghosts of Yote, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, Returnal, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Spider-Man 2. I played plenty of next-gen games. If you can't marry your ambition with optimization, I don't call that next-gen. What do you mean? So you could make a game right now and optimize it for the highest level 50 series cards and leave everybody else in the dust. And you could be like, well, it's next-gen. That's not next gen. That's stupid. Why would you make a game that's so poorly optimized and then puff your chest out and say it's next gen? I guess if you don't want to sell any copies, because everybody's going to try and play your game and have a terrible experience. There have been plenty of games that have come out that were poorly optimized, and a strong rig could eat around the fat. There were people with really strong PCs that could kind of eat around the fat of Dragon's Dogma 2. Did that make Dragon's Dogma 2 next gen, or was it poorly optimized? I don't consider any of those next gen. I've been waiting for a game like this. Then tell me why this is next gen and all the games I listed are not next gen. I want you to create delineations of like a list. Like, what are the things about Crimson Desert that you think makes it next gen, but like Yote and Death Stranding 2 aren't next gen? It's like you define next gen according to your own definition so that you can say certain games aren't and this game is. Well, give us your qualifiers then. Let's see if your position's consistent, because I don't even understand how would you define it. I don't see anything in this game that I can't get in another game other than, well, there's more NPCs and the draw distance is absurd. That's it. That's the only thing I've seen in this game and all the footage that makes me say, yeah, this game is gonna be a real standout next gen game. The draw distance is absurd. It's arguably dumb. I don't know why you would set it that far out, especially if it's going to cause performance issues. And then there's lots of NPCs in an area, and both of those things cause performance issues. So they seem like bad decisions more than next gen. I agree. Next gen is path tracing on PC. Alan Wake 2 is path tracing is next gen. The gameplay mechanics. The thousands of different things you can do. I don't consider graphics or FOS next gen anymore. So you've just shifted goalposts to your own self-made definition of next gen, which means there's no reason for me to entertain your criticism because you're operating from your own narrow worldview of it, which means nobody else is going to share your worldview. I could be like, well, next gen is I can carry 2 swords, so there aren't enough next gen games out here. Like, if you make up your own definition, then sure, you could say plenty of games aren't next gen. They have to meet your self-made definition. What conversing with you on that is going to be pointless because you can always say, well, no, my definition is this. Well, okay, I don't know what to tell you then. I have no idea what you're going to say next if you can completely redefine every term that we're going to use. At some level, there's a part of me that agrees with you that I would love it as we go into PlayStation 6, that next gen would be defined more by like innovation within the physics systems and the gameplay and not just the graphics are better. Like, at some level, I kind of agree with you, but I don't think right now you can say, oh, halfway through this console generation, this is next gen. What? Lots of freedom. What? Like, how is anybody going to know that's what you mean? Especially if all that freedom and all that density of NPCs, if that creates a game that doesn't run well, I'm not even talking graphics with you. I'm just talking optimization and performance. Shouldn't a true next-gen game run well? That feels like a base-level expectation that I think is fair to have. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the bombast, the back and forth, the debates, this is something we do on a regular basis. You might notice that I have kept it safe for work. I'm not sitting here cursing and swearing. And so do me a favor and hit that like button. Also consider hitting subscribe. That does help me out. You do not have to subscribe to talk in my chat, but I have been driving this warning for weeks about Crimson Desert, trying to let people know that they should be very cautious about pre-ordering this game. I would even be cautious about pre-ordering it, on PC. I mean, you can obviously refund a lot easier on PC, but if you don't have a super strong PC, you're likely going to face issues as well and have to do some tinkering and tweaking. Now, you have an advantage on PC. You can shut off ray tracing. The people on console can't do that. A $5 super chat from Broken Earth. They're compounding issues on issues here. Lots of things going on in the game, and then Denuvo on top of all of that. It's not going to do well. Also, we are working on a goal on the channel, and you guys have helped us get closer to the goal. We're trying to get to 600 paying members. We were at like 505, and now we're at 528. Thank you to everybody who has done that. Consider clicking join right now. It's $5. The whole month, you get a badge and emotes and into my members-only Discord for $5. Not cursing at these fanboys must be the hardest thing in streaming. I don't want to curse at them. I want to elevate their view of this. Instead of just being an excited fan, I want to elevate their view to be like, look at this from a bigger perspective. They've marketed the game in a dishonest way. You being excited for the game doesn't change that. DK Bager gifts a member. Thank you so much. And remember, every 25, I gift one back. Recommended card 2080, unless they are outright lying, it should run like butter for everyone. If that's the case, then why won't they just show it on mid-level rigs? Why won't they just show it on base PS5s and an Xbox Series X? At some level, I agree with you. If it can run on a 2080, what's the holdup? Why can't we see it on base level console footage? What's with all the shenanigans? I await to see all the people who play this game on a 2080 and what their experience is. I'm very interested to see how that goes. Probably because devs tend to like showing games at the best performance levels for marketing purposes. They do, and at some level, I think that that's okay. I think there is a time and a place for a video where you've cranked everything to 11 and you're showing off the game. I think that's perfectly fine. But I also think it's acceptable for the consumers to say, we would like to see the game on a base level console, because you're marketing the game to those people. The PlayStation channel is an enormous marketing funnel. It has like 17 million subscribers. Steam reviews are going to be cinema. You are allowed some puffery if the total marketing is complete, says Zubair. PS5 players need to see PS5 gameplay. Yes, I am totally fine. And listen, at some level, like the fact that this is PS5 Pro footage, the game does look good. It doesn't look bad. There are times where I think the image quality gets a little muddy and blurry, because if there's like smoke or rain and stuff, or if there's lots of foliage. But sections like this, it's like, wow, there are elements of this game that I think look very good. I think this is on par right here with all of the really pretty open world games that I've played. I do. The pop-in, the texture issues, and all of that are certainly happening. But at times I'm like, oh yeah, this is a very good looking game. It doesn't look arguably bad. I would never argue that it looks bad. It's that I don't see anything in the footage to justify a bunch of performance issues. I just don't. And if you're like, oh, but there's lots of NPCs around, that's why the frame rate drops. It's like, but that was a choice. Just going to say, I enjoyed Skyrim on PS3 launch. Performance bugs don't bother me. I expect issues, but every engine needs time. Decima wasn't perfect during First Horizon. MMO Studio can patch fast. Punisher Matt, I totally respect where you're coming from, but my issue is if the performance issues happen in the sections where it seems like they're going to happen the most, it's going to have a pretty dramatic effect on our experience when we're trying to just do combat. That's my biggest concern. Like, running well when I'm just like out in an open field on horseback or like sitting beside a river quietly, that's great. That's great for capture and screenshots and everything else. But if I go into like a fortress and I'm getting 30 and 40 frames, I mean, that's going to be really unenjoyable. That's going to be frustrating. That's going to hurt the experience significantly. Jedi Survivor was, I think, one of the best Star Wars stories. I thought it was excellent Star Wars. And yet, the performance issues at launch made it unplayable. There were entire game hitches. There was screen tearing. There was stuttering. It was really, really frustrating. Now, if I kind of stood still and slowly turned... If I did this kind of stuff... Hang on. I almost had that perfectly timed by accident. If I did this in Jedi Survivor, it'll look fine. But when I actually went to run around and get into fights and climb and solve puzzles and battle the enemies, Jedi Survivor was unplayable. It was super frustrating. If the NPCs are going to harm performance to that degree, the NPC interaction better be effing mind-blowing. It can't be the same, I lost my cat, can you find it, dumb dialogue. And somebody in chat saying F Will Powers and Pearl Abyss, they're not going to get a single cent from me. I am not attacking him. I'm not attacking Pearl Abyss. I'm simply saying I feel like the marketing has been misleading. I think he's been snippy and snarky, and I would even say he's now being combative about the fact that people want base level console footage. I find that to be highly irregular. I find that to be unprofessional. It's like, that's quite literally what you're there for. You're there to answer questions and to give us the information, and you seemingly don't want to do that. You and Pearl Abyss have made the decision to not let people see the game on base level consoles. That's a decision that you have made, and I think everybody has a right to say, hey, that that's a pretty severe red flag here for me to pre-order your game. Hilly says, nothing dumb about a lost cat. That's a serious issue, and cats do whatever they like all the time. Could we get 20 more likes on the video, guys? Thanks so much for being here and supporting the channel. We're about an hour and 20 minutes in. We have some other topics to discuss. We will get to discussing Marathon in a little bit. I thought this was like the front burner issue that we're talking about instead of just... I didn't want to do single topic today. I like to do a variety of topics so we don't spend 4 hours on one thing. So... We are going to continue for the time being, though, talking about this because you guys are really, interested. And I do have some questions coming in. This is something you can do as a paying member as well as a sub if you do that on Twitch. Minstree is using the question command. Hang on, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. There we go. Could he mean that the video team was creating vertical slices to show off instead of real gameplay, which is more time-consuming? You don't need to make a vertical slice. The game is shipping this week. It's shipping this week. I don't know what there is to say. Have you seen the more recent Digital Foundry video? John spoke about Crimson Desert at the end. I don't care to watch it. It's not going to change my mind. The footage and John saying there will not be base level footage is all I need to know. Why don't you tell me what he said? Because you guys keep coming in and wanting me to go watch it. So why don't you tell me what he said if it's so compelling? Why do I have to go watch it? Give me the Cliff's Notes version. It isn't that difficult to come in and say... Here's what John said. What do you think? I've watched the 30-minute video that they put out multiple times, and now I've seen the screenshot of John Linneman in their Discord saying they will not have base-level console footage available for the public pre-launch, which is something we were given assurances would happen. Everybody kept saying, oh, no, they're going to give us the footage. They're going to get it to us. No, they're not. Now, here's another question I do think is important. Does PlayStation have some accountability for letting publishers post non-PlayStation footage on their YouTube channel? I know it's common practice, but PC footage on the channel, but it's dishonest. They did in the second and third video. It was in the description and right at the beginning captured on PC, but I do hold PlayStation they're like 10% accountable. It's not their marketing budget and their marketing strategy. It's not on them, but it is on them to basically say, hey, if there's blowback from this, I think PlayStation should establish a standard to be like, we would really prefer PlayStation footage. You can put PC footage on our channel, but it needs to be disclaimed, but it needs to also be like a one-off, not 3 separate videos totaling 30 minutes. Like, that's ridiculous. That's a gameplay showcase spread out over 3 different videos, and it's all PC, and you put it all on the PlayStation channel. Imagine the Switch doing that. Imagine the Nintendo channel promoting, Cyberpunk, because we know Cyberpunk's coming to the Switch too. Imagine them putting trailers on their channel and it was all PC footage. That'd be incredibly misleading. Xbox channel, no guilt. I don't know. Is it on the Xbox channel? I didn't go look. Big Tatty with 4 months. Thank you so much. We are 10 away from the first milestone of the week. All they say is that the guy flew to his house with the Pro and it wasn't completely normal. So John Linneman from Digital Foundry said on their latest video, the guy flew to his house with the Pro and it wasn't completely normal on the Digital Foundry Direct. I mean, that you talk about an understatement. Yeah, it's not completely normal. It isn't. What do you... It isn't normal. No. How many... Over the years, I like John Linneman. But if John Linneman was right here with me right now, I'd be like, John, over the years of you doing this, how many times has this happened? I'd bet money he would say, this is the only time this has happened. I'd put money on it. He'd be like, yeah, this is the only time that somebody has done this. If they flew to my house and hand-delivered a PS5 Pro, did he also hold you at gunpoint, John? Did he look over your shoulder while you were recording footage, John? Did he stay the night? Did he bring a sleeping bag? Like, these inquiring minds would like to know what in the heck's going on here. Like, huh? So I can't wait to get my own home visit from the next company that wants to let me review a game, which probably won't happen given how critical I've been of this marketing strategy. Like, what is going on? 100% brought a sleeping bag. He's like, yeah, I'm so happy to meet you. Like, what? Would anyone be impressed with Xbox footage at all? I don't know. We're looking to be impressed. We're looking to be informed. We're looking to be informed. Listen, I've gotten a lot of grief for my coverage of Crimson Desert. My coverage is already aging like a fine wine because more and more people are picking this up and saying, these are severe red flags. Really, really big accounts on Twitter with lots of views and lots of follows are saying, this is a massive red flag. And I'm like, thank you. Vindication. I've been saying this for weeks. This doesn't make sense. It's weird. It's misleading. When the game comes out, I think my vindication arc will be complete. I think people are like, yeah, this game's going to need some love. This game's going to need some patches. It's about them at best misleading and at worst lying. That's what people are upset about. Send me your home address, bro. I got the PS5 Pro for you. Like, it's so weird. Trill with 45 months of VIP. They couldn't even trust just shipping the PS5 Pro to him. Bro had to personally hand deliver it to him and stand behind him the whole time while John was playing. Hey, let's add one to the total. Thank you, Mr. Trill Troll. Would anyone be... I already read that. Also, new month, check your primes. Yeah, Wired Rope's telling you guys to check your primes over there on Twitch. AOZ says, oh, this is why he was blinking twice the whole video. Yeah, I saw that. Perfect damage. Why didn't Pearl Abyss give Digital Foundry a base PS5 console with the game pre-installed as well? Very telling. Oh, yeah, that would have been too difficult. He would have had to carry both of them. I want that interview. So tell me, why didn't you bring a base PS5? And he was like, well, we tried, but I mean, I was going to be both my carry-ons, and I can't be walking around the airport like this. You know what I mean? Like I just couldn't do it. Couldn't have it. Giza with 46 months over there on Purple. Thank you so much. In 3 days, everybody will see just how bad the game performs on everything except for high-end PCs. I have a feeling that that's going to be what happens, Branko. Like, I really do. I think the one advantage that, like, mid-level PC owners have is that they can turn the ray tracing off. I do. I think that's a huge advantage to, like, if you're going to be playing Crimson Desert on a PC, I mean it. I think that's a huge advantage that you have. You're going to be able to shut the ray tracing off or tweak it down. Do you see what I'm saying? Because like the console owners that are at a huge disadvantage. They literally can't turn the ray tracing off. It's just on all of the time. This channel has base PS5 gameplay. I don't believe you. There's nobody with base PS5 gameplay. People are uploading footage and falsely titling it because they know there's a high search volume for PlayStation 5 gameplay of Crimson Desert right now. Go to your search line on YouTube and type Crimson Desert P. Just the letter P, and it'll be PS5 Pro, PS5 gameplay, console footage, console gameplay. These are all predictive searches. It's what people are searching for. So people are re-uploading footage and lying and saying that it's base PS5 footage. This is a tactic that lots of channels do on YouTube. They will download a trailer, they will re-upload it with a title that is a lie because they know people are searching for it. So there were multiple channels that had taken PC footage and they re-uploaded it claiming it was PS5 footage and it wasn't. Somebody did it saying they had PS5 Pro footage as well and it was PC footage. This is 12 day ago videos. Yes, it's been a common tactic on... I actually think that those channels should get in trouble for that. You shouldn't be able to do that. It's a lie. Like, I don't get why those channels don't get in trouble. You shouldn't be able to monetize a video that's a flat out lie. If I'm like, yeah, I've got Xbox footage of Crimson Desert and it's just PC footage, that video should get a mark against it until they change the title. That 100% shouldn't be allowed. Bruh, big publishers do not do that. They can't just release the game. Y'all like to crap chat. They don't need to do that, Keep hating, though. I will also be able to put sentences together that are complete and not grammatically broken. I'll do that as well, something you seemingly can't do. Publishers all of the time release multiple versions of footage and trailers. It's not that abnormal. What this guy said, good, then stop reinterpreting what they said. I'm not sure who you're talking to. What big publishers don't do it? If they at least show PS5 or Q settings for us to confirm, they don't have to do that, but they aren't getting my money. That's the thing that I think gets lost in this equation. You guys, a bunch of entitled gamers? What? We're would-be consumers. What the heck are you talking about? But just buy the game. Just shut up and buy the game. You don't need footage. You don't need information. Just buy the product. Do you work for the company? What the huh? Why is that the attitude of so many gamers all of a sudden? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you defending a game you haven't touched yet? You know what I'm saying? It's just the energy around this game is so weird. They're marketing a game and they're trying to get people to pre-order. That's what they're doing. They're doing it with footage that doesn't represent the product. It doesn't. Like, I don't understand why anybody would be like, that's fine. I'm like, the justification is this simple. It's this simple, and it drives me nuts. I'm excited about the game. Therefore, I'm going to criticize anybody who's doing what Reforged Gaming is doing. Go be excited somewhere else if that's going to be your posture. That's just such weird energy to be like, well, because I'm excited for the game, I'm going to crap on anybody who's pointing out the fact that we don't have enough information to pre-order the game. You being excited? Haseo with a gifted member. Haseo with another gifted member. Haseo's going to try to bump this line to 20. He's hoping to attempt a 5-bomb to 25 for the first milestone where I owe you guys a member back. It just hit me that the reason they sent the game on the Pro was so that they couldn't... I don't know what you're trying to say, scot-free. And another one from Haseo. There it is. A 5-bomb to steal it. Who's going to do it? Digital Foundry should transfer the game to the base PS5. They can't. You're mad that someone's criticizing your criticism? But you're not criticizing my criticism. People are falsely labeling what I'm doing as hate. Like, that's like the new simp, like, weak energy of gamers. It's this weird simp boy energy of like, you leave my big giant company alone and stop asking for more footage. Like, what? And a 5-bomb from Broken Earth gets us the first 25 of the week. I owe YouTube a member. Remember, you guys get a bonus if you get 100 in a day. So you're getting there. Make sure and check your renewals on YouTube. Those count. Brand new ones count as well. If someone was actually critiquing my criticism, I would listen to that critique and engage with it. I've been told that I'm hate farming and grifting and clickbaiting because I'm trying to warn people that they don't have enough information. That's not being critical of my criticism. You're being a simp. Like, I've took the gloves off this lately. If you're going to come in here and do this and act like a simp, that's what I'm going to call you. You're being like a little fangirl. Oh, yeah, I'm so excited for this game. Don't you dare say anything critical. What the heck is the matter with you? It's a product that they want people to buy. And I'm cautioning people against doing that because I don't think you have adequate information. I think we have about 6 red flags and misleading marketing. These are all of the token reasons to withhold purchase until further information is revealed. This is a good habit as a consumer. Simping is a terrible habit as a consumer. Do you want to know why? because they'll make a ton of money and then no one can refund, and now they've got grounds to do it again because it worked. This hype machine, look at how effective this hype machine is. Look at the views on, look at the views on this video for Digital Foundry. They're going to close in on 1 million views probably once it's all said and done. 750,000 views almost. They're 3/4 of a way to 1 million views. That's a lot. The excitement and the interest and the hype for this game is up there. The wild thing is, Lono isn't even telling you not to buy it. He's warning you to wait and see first because the crap looks funny. Yeah, I've yet to campaign and be like, these guys are terrible, don't buy. I'm like, I wouldn't pre-order. I think there's a difference between pre-ordering as well and buying something. The dichotomy of you calling anyone a simp when you're calling a PR employee combative is quite hilarious. I know that you are using a word that I use a lot. The dichotomy? What? That word doesn't make any sense there. I know it's the habit of some to come in and grab a word that I use in an attempt to, I guess, mirror what I'm doing. That's not a dichotomy. Also, yes, I think a PR person being combative is highly irregular. It's also unprofessional. Am I a PR person for a company? No. This is just me. And if you're going to come in here and tell me that I'm hating and grifting and that you're really excited for the game and that, I should stop hating on the game, I'm going to be like, you sound like a simp. You sound like you're on the dadgum payroll. See, the difference is I can be combative. I'm not trying to get you to buy a product. I am the product, brother. What do you mean? I'm not trying to get you to buy something, and then we're like, could I get some more information about that thing? What do you need more information for, man? The people that put together these trailers are tired. Do you see? It's weird to be combative as you're trying to get people to pre-order a product. I'm not trying to get you to pre-order anything. You're here engaging with the product that I'm the product. It's me. I'm the product. Thank you for contributing to my product's success. Do you not understand the difference between a PR person for a company out there trying to get people to pre-order the game and a YouTuber live interacting with an audience? We're completely different things. We assume the stupid are refusing to understand. No, they literally can't understand. To use an expression I just learned, you don't go to a hardware store to get bread. I've never once said you're hating or grifting. So if you're replying to my comment, let's talk about what I've said. You mean the comments that you retracted or the comments that you've been putting in my chat? I retracted it solely because of spelling. I've watched your streams religiously and I'm a fan, but you just sound like a hater. So, it's okay if we read your comments, right? That was your comment. I sound like a hater. I think that's the second time this morning you've used the word hate to describe my content. So yeah, you sound like a simp. Telling people that the marketing has red flags, telling people that they haven't seen base level console footage, telling people to hold off, warning people that we would likely not see base level console footage, and then when we finally get to see the PS5 Pro footage, even it feels very cherry picked. That Digital Foundry video is freaking weird. It is weird. Telling me that I sound like a hater or that I'm hating, you sound like a simp. It sounds like you're on the dadgum payroll, like you're in here battling for the game. All I'm doing is just telling people to exercise caution with their hard-earned money. Homie, times are tough. People can't just throw $70 around like it's nothing. People are budgeting groceries and gas money right now and rent. And you're like, hey, stop all that hating. Quit being a hater. Just let people spend their money in peace. No, I won't. I will not. I will not let people be uninformed about something like this. Pull it up and read the comments. What do we have here? No base PS5 and Xbox Series XS footage for Crimson Desert before launch. Digital Foundry, the only people that had access to Crimson Desert on console PS5 Pro, just said this. I think the day one patch is a huge upgrade to the performance of those base consoles. Hopefully it's good. I mean, this is a massive presumption. That's a massive presumption. Small correction. Only Digital Foundry has said that they most likely won't show it, but the devs themselves could still show it. Yeah. Do you think they will? Do you think they will? Tagging is misleading because this is what they said. This is not just Digital Foundry. We could still see footage from Pearl Abyss themselves. Okay, so that's why they updated it. Okay. Never a good sign. They've been really weird with the game. Physical copies having a lock until launch. Not at all good thing, no matter how much the anti-spoiler people praise it for some reason. Digital Foundry receiving a whole PS5 Pro console instead of the download code, and now this. Digital Foundry receiving a whole PS5 Pro console instead of a download code. Did this really happen? Yeah, apparently he flew to his house and gave it to him. Most of the footage seen so far has been running on a PC, but what about consoles? Pearl Abyss was confident enough to hand deliver a PS5 Pro with near final version of the game, and we were not disappointed. Bruh. Holy this made me rethink the pre-order. This is really getting suspect now. Hey, the world is waking up to how freaking weird this situation is. It would have been a dev kit with the build on. I'm a gaming dev, and only Sony can get a game running on a retail kit. Yeah, it's funny. That means that the game's gone through certification. The game has gone through certification. They installed it on a PS5 Pro. The reason that you can't play it and run it on a base PS5 right now, even if you have the physical copy, is because the servers won't let you. They literally have like authentication servers that aren't going to let you play it until like day one. This is absolutely weird to hear about, especially coming from Resident Evil Requiem early copies, where most of those were of the Switch 2 version, which despite being a GKC, worked just fine a week or two prior to release. Hell, I'm pretty sure other PS5 games that required a download for physical copies like Hogwarts Legacy and Jedi Survivor were able to download the missing data within a week or two prior to release. Do you know what this also means? And we already had this leaked, but you know what this also means and what this also confirms? There will not be a single review for console. Red flag number what? 17? Red flag number 17, boys. There will not be a single base level console. There won't be any console. There won't be any console review at launch. It'll all be PC. We have that confirmed now from this hullabaloo with Digital Foundry and having a PlayStation 5 Pro hand delivered to them. PSSR 2 just dropped. What you talking about, Willis? Where? Get ready to go PS5 Pro, chooms. A free Cyberpunk technology update for the PS5 version of the game is coming in the not-too-distant future. Okay, that's not it. Where are you seeing this? I don't know. I don't know where you're seeing this. Did you get it? Today, we take a look at the PS5 Pro games running with the upgraded PSSR and come away impressed, says Digital Foundry. Silent Hill F, Dragon Age the Veilguard, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Monster Hunter Wilds are on the menu in this video. It's on a rollout, so you might have got it and other people might be getting it. Oh, wait. No. Be a little careful with this one. PlayStation has officially announced, starting today, more games benefit from new PSSR upscaling on the PS5 Pro, including Silent Hill F, FF7 Rebirth, Monster Hunter Wilds, Alan Wake 2, and Control. So we knew this was coming. So I don't think this is the PSSR 2 like global rollout where like you can change it in your settings. These games are being updated with it baked in. So Resident Evil 9 has it baked in, but you can't like turn it on in the settings of your PS5 Pro. So these 5 games have now had it added as well. Omar says, even as someone who has given them the benefit of the doubt on many aspects, didn't they directly say they would not show us PS5 footage because we wouldn't believe it, but Digital Foundry would? Yes. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to yell. I told you guys that answer was bogus. It smelled like a steaming hot fresh pile of bull. I was like, we're going to give console footage. We're going to give the game to Digital Foundry. If we gave you console footage, you wouldn't believe it. I knew that was like the freshest pile of bull crap that I had ever heard. I was like, that is such a bogus answer. And then what did we get from Digital Foundry? PS5 Pro footage. In the most unusual circumstances probably ever. He's going to yell, no, I'm actually, I don't want to do that today. I've done that enough. I told you that answer was bogus. I was like, that's the most BS answer I've ever heard. To be fair, that came from Fighting Cowboy. So what reason would Fighting Cowboy have to lie? I believe the man told the truth. He inquired about console footage, and then he relayed the answer to us that he was given. Did anybody come out and counter what he said? Did Will Powers or Pearl Abyss or Digital Foundry, did anybody come out and say that that's not true? No. Nobody was like, well, no, hang on a minute. That's not really what we meant. What we meant was we were going to hand deliver a PS5 Pro to Digital Foundry and not a base PS5 or Series X or Series S. We're going to keep the game locked down so no one can actually play it prior to launch. We'll claim that as for spoilers. And then nobody can actually see the game on the base level console. No. They totally let that answer hit the ethos of gaming coverage. Give us a screamo yell. No. Nobody came out and countered that and said, hey, that's not true. What, you know what I'm saying? If Fighting Cowboy misheard or something, then Pearl Abyss or Will Powers would have come out and said, well, that's actually not true. We're not going to give you base level console footage or console footage prior to launch. We're going to make sure that Digital Foundry can show off the PS5 Pro or something. Like, but of course they're not going to say that because that sounds absurd. It sounds absurd. The PS5 Pro, hang on, I got to read this. I can sense it's going to be really intelligent. The PS5 Pro is almost 6 years old and you're expecting it to perform well as games get bigger and more demanding? Yeah. I expect it to run games well, yes. Why does it being 6 years old matter? They're recommending a 2080 card, my friend. Would you like to look when that card came out? And maybe reconsider what you just said? I built a 2080 rig 7 years ago. That's the card they're recommending for this game. So what you're saying doesn't really make any sense in light of what the company themselves are advocating for. They're like, yeah, we recommend you, not min spec. 2080 is not the min spec. The min spec's like a 1060 card. They're recommending a 2080. So, yeah? What do you mean? Anybody who plays the game on a 2080 should expect reasonable performance because the company's telling them that's the recommended GPU, like the middle level. Yeah, I had a TI. The point, it still stands, Zoob. The point is that the PS5 being 6 years old has no bearing on the discussion. They're telling people to play it on a 2080. Also, plenty of games have launched on the base PS5 and ran just fine. Yote ran just fine on the base PS5. Death Stranding 2 ran just fine. Assassin's Creed Shadows ran just fine on the base PS5. What are we even talking about? Horizon Forbidden West ran just fine on the base PS5. These are all big, huge, beautiful open world games that ran just fine. What are you talking about? If you can't optimize your game to run well on the platforms you ship it on, maybe you shouldn't ship it there, or maybe you should, build your game a little different. Imagine I come to your house and I'm like, yeah, I do towing and transport. I do towing and transport. I can tow whatever you got. Oh, you got an RV? No problem. No problem. I can do that. You're like, oh, sweet. And I show up and I've just got like a normal truck. And you're like, what are you doing? That's not going to be strong enough to pull this RV. This RV is huge. You need at least a certain type of engine and a certain type of hauling capabilities. I'm like, nah, it'll be fine. and then I do it and I barely get out of your driveway and I barely get down the road, would you be like, that's a really good company right there? No, you'd be like, that guy's an idiot. He's an idiot. So if you build your game and you ship it on platforms and it can't run well, that's on you, not the platform. You don't get to indict the PlayStation 5 for being old. They're shipping on the platform. There's 90 million PlayStations in circulation, and most of them are base PS5s. They are going to that consumer base. They're going to that consumer base and saying, hey, here, buy our game. If you can't ship it on that platform and have it run well, then, I don't know, maybe don't ship it on that platform? Like, if I can't haul away your RV and transport it effectively, maybe I shouldn't market myself in that way and come to you as a potential consumer. Like, that. Are we defending Sony? What? We don't have to defend Sony. Sony's not done. I mean, I don't think Sony should allow the PC footage on the channel, but that's not what we're talking about. Sony doesn't need to be defended. They made a perfectly capable console that is still relevant and being used today, the PS5. 90-something million of them are in circulation. And if you're making a game and you would like to sell to those people, I think you should show them how the game's going to run on their console. If the game struggles to run on their console or has problems, it's on you to figure it out. You shipped it there. You shipped it there. Like, you don't get to indict the hardware that you shipped to. You have the PlayStation 5 dev kits in your possession. You can optimize the game for the PS5. You can. What are we even talking about? Would we argue it doesn't run well if it can do a locked native 4K 30 though? I kind of know your position against 30 this gen, but is that what we would call bad performance? Yes. Yes. If you ship your game in 2026 capped at 30, bad performance. Next. If GTA 6 ships and can't give me 60 and it's capped at 30, next. Not interested. It's 2026. You can take your game on down the road. Sell it to somebody else. I don't want it. We're 6 years into the gen. That's the irony of being like, it's a 6-year-old console. Well, I was told the further we got into the gen, devs got better at optimizing for the gen and that games would look and run better the further we got into the gen. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to use the age of the generation as an indictment of the hardware? That seems awfully backwards from everything I was told. That, like, well, games are going to start to look and run better, Lono. We'll get further into the gen and they'll look and run better. And then we're gonna act like 30 FPS is okay 6 years into the gen? That's ludicrous. I'm not saying that you're saying that, Omar, but if anybody says that, I'd be like, wait, I was told that the opposite would happen. That the further we got into the generation, developers would get better about games this gen. What are we even talking about? Defending 30 FPS, and I'm not saying Omar's doing that, but defending 30 FPS in 2026 has got to be, that's weird. That's weird, y'all. I can't imagine doing that. We were constantly told that as the gen progressed, performance and graphics would get better, not worse. It's completely convoluted. When the tech's brand new, we expect rough edges. The console's been out for 6 years. What do you mean? Figure it out. That's literally your job. That's what you're supposed to do if you're making a game and shipping it on the console. It's your job to figure it out. It's not my job to become Sherlock Holmes and be like, well, they won't release footage, and they have this spec sheet, and this is how it runs on really high-level PCs, and they're saying you can run it on a 2080, so I can extrapolate this through, napkin paper math and, like, strings on the wall to be like, I should get this level of performance on my console. I shouldn't have to do that at all. You're bringing the game to the market. You're bringing the game to the consumer. Show it to them. We already cooked when crap like Borderlands 4 released and needed freaking DLSS just to keep 60 FPS. Right, like, I mean, and again, when games ship to PC, we never say this. If they ship to PC and they're not optimized. Have you guys ever done this? The 2.0 PSSR update's not out yet, y'all. They've got 5 games getting updated with the new PSSR. PSSR is not rolling out yet. You guys are misreading the announcement. You got to be careful with that. PSSR 2 is baked into Resident Evil 9. It's now going to be baked into 5 other titles. It is not rolling out just yet. It should be rolled out by end of month. I do not think end of today you're going to be able to go into your settings and turn PSSR 2 on for all your games. There are 5 games that are getting essentially the Resident Evil 9 treatment. It will be baked into those games in particular. If a game comes unoptimized to PC, nobody indicts PC hardware. Yeah, well, you know, these graphics cards and CPUs are just not strong enough. No one does that. PS put a blog out saying the system update is today. It's in the blog. It rolls out today over the few days. Oh, so it's rolling out over the next couple of days. And you're going to be able to go into your settings and change it. Because their tweet didn't read that way. I just read their tweet, and it read to me like, oh, these 5 games are getting updated. Let's read it. Several partners are already integrating the upgraded PSSR into their titles. Okay. Konami, EA, Remedy, Ninja Theory, Square Enix, Koei Tecmo, Capcom. More games supported soon. The upgraded PSSR is fully integrated with the latest PS5 system software update, which begins rolling out in phases starting on March 16th. The update will gradually become available to all users over the coming days, and when you can also manually check for and install your update via the PS5 system. In addition to the titles above, Crimson Desert is also adopting the new PSSR when it launches on March 19th, and furthermore, Assassin's Creed Shadows and Cyberpunk will also receive a patch in the coming weeks to support the new PSSR. If you'd like to see how some of your other games work with the new PSSR, you can apply it to all PS5 Pro games that support PSSR today. While results may vary by title, many gamers may see improvements. Okay, so I was incorrect. This is rolling out, and once you have it, you will be able to go into your settings and check this box. I thought that they were just putting it on these titles. Okay. So basically, use it, but it's gonna if it's not an intentional update, like the 5 games that they have listed right here, Silent Hill F, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Monster Hunter Wilds, Alan Wake 2, Control, in the coming weeks, like Crimson Desert, and Cyberpunk, and then there is, we know Resident Evil 9 has it. If it's not those games, you know, your mileage may vary turning it on. But cool that that's actually rolling out. Yeah. Rolling out this week for PSSR 2.0. There we go. A £5 from SDO. I am sure every Sony first-party game launched on PS5 is $60. It's never been a PS5 issue, in my opinion. It's the third-party game devs. Just look at Horizon Forbidden West on PS5. Correct. If a game comes out on PC and is not optimized well, we blame the devs. When games come to console and they're not optimized well, people blame the console. It's super inconsistent. It's super inconsistent. Yeah, Control. Control would be a great playthrough right now in anticipation to Control Resonant. I feel like Control Resonant's going to look freaking sick. It's going to look sick, boys. If they're baking PSSR 2 into Control 1. Yo, thank you, Chrono, for the raid. Make sure, guys, and check out Chrono over there on Twitch and YouTube. Imagine gamer criticism being inconsistent. Imagine, Chrono. Imagine. Sony needs to fix MLB The Show. Foul balls are going for home runs. Can we get a different icon on PSN to differentiate the Pro from the pleb version, or I mean the base version? Shut up. Does Xbox have any capabilities to upgrade their Series X like the Pro? I don't think so. I mean, there are people that think they're going to be able to bring the updated version of like Windows and the Xbox experience to Series X. I don't think that's going to be their focus. I think their focus is to bring that to Windows 11 and continue to refine it, because that's going to be sort of the central, you know, aspect of the Helix. Control with the new PSSR and ray tracing lighting will look stupid good. Yeah. I really enjoyed replaying it. I really did. I really enjoyed replaying Control. Ben Studio, creator of Days Gone, Uncharted, Golden Abyss, and Siphon Filter, is seeking outstanding talent to join our passionate and creative team in crafting our next high-profile console title. Bend is safe. I was so worried when I saw Bend in some tweets. I was like, oh no. Oh no, 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 no. No, 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 no. After what happened with Blue Point, whew, everybody can take a sigh of relief. Goodness gracious. Anyone here actually grinding for level 25 in Marathon? We can shift to talking about Marathon now. We've gone for 2 hours, pretty much all Crimson Desert. Let's kind of stoke the fires of the Marathon conversation. So essentially, what I said was the numbers are debatable. So rather than debate whether or not the numbers are good, to me, I think you have to come up with a flow chart in your mind about a Marathon and its future, okay? And guys, do me a quick favor. If you've been watching and enjoying the show, hit that like button. Try to get us to 400 likes really quickly. Let's all do that right now. Double check, you lurkers, you listeners, you awesome folks. Make sure you have hit the like button. If you haven't hit subscribe, also consider hitting subscribe. It's not required to talk in chat, but it does help support me and my channel, and then I'll be in your feed. And you can help us with a goal as well. If you click join for $5 a month, you get a badge, you get emotes, and you get access to my members-only Discord. We're trying to get to 600 paying members, so you can help us with that goal. This over here is like gifted in renewals. You're included in this, but this is like a separate thing to do a show Saturday night with my wife that we do pretty much every week when we hit the goal. Okay, so the situation with Marathon, rather than debate who's right and who's wrong about the Steam numbers and the player numbers, right? Because, Paul Tassi, in my opinion, really, really contextualized and changed, I think, how we should be viewing the Steam charts, okay? Because release to now, it's been on a decline. Now, the hope would be that you see this dip here, and then you see this coming up again on Sunday. The hope would be that it can kind of come up and maybe climb this week because of Cryo Archive. Maybe the intrigue is there. Maybe the floor is stable. Okay? Let's imagine this is the floor. The question is not who's right and wrong. The question is, are Bungie and PlayStation satisfied with that floor? There's also the question of, well, what if that's not the floor? What if that's not the floor? What if it keeps going down? Then that's another question. What does Bungie think about that? What does PlayStation think about that? I think we will have a pretty clear indication over the course of the next month if they start taking seismic, drastic measures. If they, do free-to-play weekends. If they throw in a PvE mode. Things like that. If they don't do anything seismic, and there's also the possibility of laying people off. Some people have thrown that out there like, yeah, this looks bad. People are going to get laid off or whatever. If none of that happens and they just keep fine-tuning and tweaking, then I would say they're okay with the numbers for now. I think that's fair to say. If we get all the way to April and they haven't done anything drastic and no one has been laid off and the content flow for Marathon keeps going, then I would say, okay, they're probably satisfied then. Then the question is, do the numbers hold? Do they hold? Do they typically land in the low 20,000s, high 60,000s? Does it just stay in that pocket for the foreseeable future? Now, the other lingering question is, what happens to the numbers once there's the first seasonal forced wipe? And then, are people going to be basically like, well, I've had my fill, I'm done now? Will a percentage of the community come to that conclusion? I think that a PvE contract only mode would be fine for me, so the ones who want to follow the story can without PvP. Some would say, Giza says, the drastic action already taken was delaying the next Destiny expansion. It is Monday morning, and it's number 63 on Steam right now. I would not expect Monday morning numbers to be that good for most games. That's also not necessarily indicative of a game's health. I think the continued thought here and the continued idea, the thing to think about, is not how low the game gets. I think that's what people do, right? They get tired of the Steam chart analyzation because you get a lot of people who are on Twitter and YouTube, and they're just being haters, and they're celebrating every time it gets lower. Okay, To me, it's the overall trajectory. If we get to the end of this month, if the trajectory continues down, I would say that's a very, very valid concern, even for people that are enjoying the game, because it can start to affect your ability to play and matchmake and squad fill if the trajectories continue down. So there's two, it's like a flow chart, right? Do the numbers continue trending down? Yes. Well, then you got to consider a whole host of things. Do the numbers continue trending down? No. No. They stabilize? Okay, there's still a whole host of questions you have to ask. Even if the player count stabilizes, and this is like basically where they land for the next couple of months, the question would be, is Bungie happy with that? Is PlayStation happy with that? My opinion is I don't think that they are. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't think that they're happy with that. Now, I watched a video. There's a video floating around that everybody kept telling me to watch, and I shut it off halfway through because it was presumptive and unfounded, and I didn't want to support it. It was basically about how the game was developed, and there were statements made that I don't think were founded. It was the development of Marathon was a crap show, where like the thumbnail has got like 2019 and 2026. He started saying things in the trailer that just weren't founded. And I was like, we don't know that. We don't know that. We don't know that. There were all these presumptions about, cost and development. The presumption that finally made me shut it off was that they boasted about how many billions this game would make to PlayStation and PlayStation basically wants to make back the $3 billion or whatever on Marathon. I'm like, that's completely ridiculous, and that was not an expectation that I think Bungie or PlayStation had. That assumption and presumption is so unfounded. It's also illogical. It's completely illogical that you got to remember Bungie was around 1,200 employees. When they're like selling themselves to PlayStation and they've got like 200 to 300 people working on Marathon, there ain't no way they said, yes, this smaller project with 200 to 300 people, that's PlayStation. That's how you're going to make back your $3 billion. I think that that's a ridiculous thing to assume. Okay. So I shut the video off. I'm like, this is unfounded. This is all theory. I think theorizing is fine. People were touting that video as if it was like factual and like, yep, this is how the game came to market and it's a disaster. And it's like, but we don't know any of that. We've all speculated on how much the game could or could not have cost, how much they expected to or, make back or what have you. Stated factually, it just turned me off. I was like, I don't want to watch this video. If they even break even, I think they should be happy right now. I agree with you, Roaring Man. I think at this point that's probably what they're hoping for, is to break even. Because I don't think the game's got that longevity of like, oh, we're going to make a ton of money over the next 5 years. Yeah, they got a lot of criticism for selling the color red for $15. Like that clip of Angry Joe, went a little viral. You need to understand that they also bought Bungie with a dozen game projects that were shortly canceled. Right. So I didn't think the video made a great case because it was like, now wait a minute, we don't know that was what they were sold. Like, oh yeah, you guys are going to make billions of dollars on Marathon, because Marathon was one of like 4 incubation projects. There was Marathon, there was Payback, there was Gummy Bear, there was one other one that I don't know if we even knew the name of. There was between 3 to 4 incubation projects that were going on at the time of purchase. I have a very hard time believing that PlayStation was like, oh yeah, we've got Destiny 2 and we've got these other incubation projects, Payback, Gummy Bear, Marathon. Yeah, we're going to make billions off of Marathon. I just don't think so. I don't think that was the logic. I think it was somewhere in the middle. I don't think they expected billions. I don't think they expected nothing. It's somewhere in the middle. We don't know. I think it's safe to say that Sony and Bungie aren't happy with where the game's sitting right now. The question is, how do they proceed? I'm not dooming. I just think that's a fair thing to say. It just doesn't look strong. And I think Fair Games is going to get canceled, though. Super Seidel. Solemn says, I thought the game was going to turn out how Highguard did. So if they managed to make all that they spent on the game, which I can't imagine is likely at all to be a small sum, that wouldn't be the worst outcome. Yeah, like if let's say they spent I think they spent somewhere between 100 and 200 million. I think it's somewhere in there. I don't think it's like 250 to 300 like people are saying, and I also don't trust the people who are like, it was less than 100 million. Like, there's no way. Okay, there's no way that you could budgetarily say that about this game. So I think it's somewhere between 100 and 200 million, maybe more. Somewhere in that ballpark. We don't know the number. If they make all that money back, I would say they're probably pretty happy about that. I would say they're probably really happy about that. Yo, what's good, Big Fry? Looking at data and pointing out patterns is dooming now. You and I have been on the same mind about this, homie. I saw you tweeting about it. I get that there are people that are being hateful and they're using the Steam charts, but I don't like people using them as a shield. It's like there are some of us looking at the Steam charts and we're not being hateful at all. We're just doing analyzation of like another live service game that came out. Why does this one get a pass? Like it's been very, the energy around that game has been very, very weird. I've gotten similar pushback for me trying to call out the red flags about Crimson Desert's marketing. People like defend the game to the end, and I'm like, but they aren't showing us the game. Like, it's been very similar, like defense force behavior for two completely different games. Imagine being a business and being happy about breaking even. Well, given the landscape Broken Earth, I would actually think that yes. I would think yes. Breaking even on a live service game is for Bungie. A new live service game, I should say, they're probably breathing a sigh of relief if they break even. They're like, whew. Because, I mean, if you look at what's happened to so many live service games, it can be financially disastrous. Breaking even is like a, wow, we dodged a bullet there. Breaking even means they don't have to, like, send hundreds of people packing. Data is literally the only way to combat dooming or delusional hopium. Analyzing is good, especially for the developers. You can actually learn a lot of stuff from data. Right, and I know that like Mark Noseworthy came out and said that historically he's seen player numbers that were not good and people celebrated them as good, and that there were player numbers that were transitory and people were like dooming. And I'm like, this can't be transitory, Noseworthy. The game just came out. It's not like in the middle between seasons or DLCs or something. Like the game's been out for a week. How's that transitory? Breaking even in the gaming space is actually really effing hard to do. I think especially for live service, because you spend so much. I mean, we know this from covering Highguard. I think Big Fry is one of the ones who talked about this, and others that I reacted to, that they started running out of money. I feel like Fry was one of the ones talking about this. But like if you go back on Highguard and you actually look at what happened, they were basically running out of money. That's why they had to like shift the game. They're like, get the game out. Like, we don't have any money left. Considering how other PvP live service and non-Arc Raiders extraction games do, I would say breaking even is pretty good over crashing and burning and losing all that money spent. Yeah, they can like lick their wounds breaking even and like pull people back in and start working on Destiny. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bungie CEO bought supercars while laying off hundreds of employees. I don't think they care. That's a red herring. He can spend whatever he wants with his money. Homie, he's making that money, and he could put it in the bank. He could invest in stocks. He could buy cars. He could buy a doll collection. It doesn't matter. It has no bearing on the performance of the studio and how much money they're making. He's getting paid either way. How much do you think Gray Zone Warfare made versus how much they spent? Oh, did somebody bring up Gray Zone Warfare? I don't know enough about that to commentate. I still say they buried a good IP in a bad designed game mode. It's a team deathmatch with contracts. Yeah, Charles Hawk, I do feel like it's another studio that made the fatal error of, we're going to launch a mode as a game. Like, we know Naughty Dog tried to do this and they canceled their plans, but they were doing the same thing. They were trying to bring a mode to the market as a game. The Division Heartland was trying to do this. They tried to take Survival from Division 1, and they were going to ship it as literally a game. It was a mode. I mean, that's essentially what Highguard was. Do you want to know why all these studios are trying to ship a mode as a game? Because Fortnite did it. They were like, oh, well, they just took BR and they just launched a mode. We could do the same thing. And it's like, that's just such a fundamental misunderstanding, right? But that's the point. You can't just ship a mode and then be like, oh, yeah, this is our game. I think a bunch of studios are learning that lesson the hard way. He wasn't buying those with Bungie's money. Yeah, if he was using, business funds for personal purchases, homie, that's a lawsuit. He was literally using his own money to buy stuff. Like, I don't like Pete Parsons. I'm not defending Pete Parsons, but I'm saying that has nothing to do with the state of Bungie. They're not related. It's not like he was tanking the company by siphoning funds for, purchases. Fortnite also did it a decade ago. Oh my gosh, yes. It took these companies so long to execute on the idea of like what Fortnite was doing. It's interesting that they learned the right lesson, but then they're now learning another lesson. A lot of these companies were like, well, we're not going to chase the Battle Royale trend. That was a good lesson to learn. A lot of companies tried to chase the Battle Royale trend, but they still made another mistake, which was, we're just going to chase the live service, make a lean, game mode as a game. And it's like, that just doesn't work. Even Fortnite has seen decline. Most battle royales are down for sure. I mean, everything eventually runs out of gas. CEOs 11 years later are like, copy Fortnite, I want money. I mean, we've talked about this with respect to Horizon Hunters Gathering. We've talked about this with Horizon Hunters Gathering. I said, the reason all these games look the same, the reason they all look like that Pixar kind of Fortnite-y, like they don't look exactly like it, but they look influenced by it. Do you want to know why they look that way? Because that's an easy way to impress an executive. Because executives are like, oh yeah, that looks like Fortnite. If you remember when the studio behind Avowed, dadgummit, their name just escaped me, Obsidian, when they were shopping Avowed, they literally said in a documentary that they were including multiplayer not because they thought that it was like the right decision for Avowed, but because they knew it's what made executives and investors' ears perk up. That's a very telling reality that like these guys were trying to shop an RPG, and even they were like, you got to throw in multiplayer, man. You got to get these executives on board. That's why these live service games look this way. They're basically art design by way of executive approval. It's like, well, this is going to get an executive to approve it for funding, so make it look this way. Will you be streaming Crimson Desert on Twitch for the drops? I will. I always multi-stream Panthorius. I'm multi-streaming right now. If you guys want to support on both platforms, you can. You can use your Prime subs over there on Purple. You can gift subs over there on Purple. And then you can also gift over here. In either case, it supports me. What also really helps on YouTube is take a quick second to make sure you've hit thumbs up. Let's get 400. That'll help on the like count. Are you getting it on the Pro? Yes, I will. Now, I have a base level PS5. I may get it installed on that and also try to show you guys. I mean this. I think I'm going to boot up Thursday evening this week and try to get as much footage out there as I can for people, because Pearl Abyss certainly isn't doing it, and Digital Foundry's not going to be able to. So I might literally boot up on Thursday, play for an hour on the base PS5, and then, on the PS5 Pro, and then switch to base PS5 so that people can make an informed decision going into the weekend. I need to look at my schedule. I think I can do that. I think I should do that because their launch window is really, really weird. It's like when can I play the game? Do we have a launch rollout for Crimson Desert yet? It looks like 6 p.m. Yeah, on March 19th, it's 6 p.m. So I'm going to put that on the calendar now. Crimson Desert stream, so my wife knows what's going on. I'm going to have to let her know. I think we're going to have to do that. We typically don't do evening streams, but I think people are going to be knocking down the door to see console footage. Isn't it weird how people are pushing back on that too? Just show the GD-based PS5 gameplay. Fry, I am thrilled that more people are drawing attention to it. I got so much hate the last couple of weeks for trying to say, this company's being weird, y'all. They won't show it. And then they said, oh, well, you wouldn't believe it, so we're going to give the console footage to Digital Foundry. Homie, they hand-delivered a PS5 Pro to John Linneman so that he could record the footage. It was a PS5 Pro with the game already installed. It is the whole situation is so weird. Bless you for the sneeze. Thank you. Did you ever get a response from Digital Foundry about your tweet of whether or not receiving console? They have answered in their Discord, T-Tube. John Linneman said that he doesn't think they're going to be able to get base console footage out before launch because they're not letting anybody play the game because the servers are basically keeping people from playing. Like, right now, Digital Foundry can't play the game to give you footage. Do you want to know what that means? There will not be any console reviews at launch. They will only have PC reviews at launch, which the review embargo is this Wednesday in the evening. Digital Foundry is testing the new PSSR right now. Yeah, they'll probably... Well, no. The way the PlayStation blog read, the PSSR update's coming to Crimson Desert later this week. Are they even going to be able to download the update to try it out? They're not showing it because the ray tracing is set to low. It won't look good. Of course. They dropped a new review? What are you talking about? Who dropped a new review? Oh, on the PSSR. Yeah, 40 minutes ago. I'm not going to watch it. I don't like doing that to people's content when it's brand new. I made an exception for Crimson Desert because I felt people needed to see it. I'm not going to do that for PSSR. If you guys want to support Digital Foundry in their video, go ahead and do that. I do not like reacting to people's content the minute it hits the platform. That feels bad. I think Digital Foundry tested this in the London PlayStation office. I don't think anybody's played Crimson Desert with the updated PSSR. I don't think anybody has tested that. The PlayStation blog literally read like they had played it on PlayStation, but they hadn't. They were at the same capture event and played it on a PC. This guy says it's not their responsibility to upload those videos to the official PlayStation channel either. I love how you're trying to blame Pearl Abyss for that. Pearl Abyss put the videos together, edited them, and sent them to be put on the PlayStation channel. Who do you think made the video? The level of doltish responses that I have got to this situation has really made me concerned for the future of humanity. It's like, y'all are out here driving on the roads and shopping in grocery stores. Some of you are as dumb as a rock. I don't even... I worry. I worry for all of us. It's like... it's like... Just... Huh? Who's responsible for the trailer? Good Lord. God save us. We need help. My gosh. These people vote. Oh. Oh my word. Can we get 10 more likes on the video? I certainly have an issue with PlayStation allowing those videos to be put on their channel for sure, but they didn't make them. Yeah, there's layers of responsibility. I hold PlayStation responsible, but ultimately PlayStation can't be like nanny state over every video that gets sent to them for their PlayStation channel. I think that they should start. You know what I mean? This guy says, then you just insult people. Like, how do you go through life like this? In this, I go through life like this pretty easily in this chair. It's, you know, it's honest work, but somebody's got to do it. Somebody has to let the dolts of the world know that they're dolts. With your 10-day-old account. Hopefully you got a clip. His 10-day-old account. How do you go through life like this? Saying such mean things as dumb and stupid. Look, when you're done drying your eyes, you know, after crying over such harsh language that I just used, maybe find somewhere else to hang out because it's too rough for you here. Zubair says, I sit here and think that you're unbelievably kind to these people. Like, I said it and I laughed. I'm not, like, trying to be mean, but, like, the responses I've gotten from people, it's dumb. It's like, huh? Did you even think about what you just said? Of course it's on Pearl Abyss. They're the ones that made the video. Oh, Panthorius with the Prime. Thank you so much. So desperate to paint me as a bad guy. You know what I mean? Some of y'all are starving for content and clips. I'm trying to be mean. Stupid people go away. You're exhausting, says Zubair. The same guys will turn around and bash consoles altogether. The people that come in with those fresh accounts trying to do that will dedicate entire videos and streams to calling me all sorts of names. And then they'll try to get self-righteous about me saying the word dumb. He's so mean. He's so toxic. He said dumb. Jiminy Christmas. Just bedwetting over the most lighthearted insults. He said dumb and stupid. Like, you sound like the kid in preschool that's like, oh, teacher, he said a naughty word. Like, that's what these people sound like. Jiminy Christmas. Dudes throw around the most harsh, awful insults, and they're cursing and they're swearing. Reforge Gaming is like, man, some of y'all are dumb. They're like, oh, I can't believe he said that. You can't say dumb. What are you, retarded? That's a good sentence, Zubair. You can't say dumb. I mean, to be fair, console players in 2026, what are we doing, fellas? Hey, Big Fry. I'm a console player. My 5070 Ti rig is pretty, but I don't play on it very much. I like to play on my couch. You know? I'm propping my feet, playing Power World with my wife. She's on her Pro. I'm on my Pro. We have a good time, okay? I like console gaming. It suits me just fine. It suits me just fine, sir. How dare you violate my personal delusion? Oh, goodness. Yeah, those are good. Those are good. Those gifts. Like, oh my gosh. Like, that's how they're reacting. It's lighthearted. You always make a great show. Thank you. Y'all got 2 TVs in the living room? Of course we do. What are you? You're some kind of a PC master race peasant, aren't you? Of course I've got 2 TVs, Big Fry. What do you think this is? You think I'm doing split screen? You know? Like some kind of a scrub? None of y'all are scrubs, by the way. I'm just giving it to Mr. Big Fry himself. Siege Master with a VIP. Thank you so much. And a 5 bomb from Siege Master as well to get us to 32. And for some reason, there's a hype train starting on Twitch. I have no idea why. Is Crimson Desert playable on the Portal? I actually don't know if it'll be cloud streamable. You can play it remote play through the Portal, but as far as being a cloud streamable game, I don't know if it's on the list or not. I don't think you can know until the launch, because once the game is in your library, you just turn on the Portal and it'll be there, or it won't. I don't know if it's like, clipped and making a video, you're done. Blocked and reported. We're in, chat. We got our own beef. I can't wait. 5 bomb from Wired Rope over there on purple. 37 on the week. Jarvis clipped that. That's right. I can't wait. Oh, he's Big Fry, and I don't know, Little Guy. That could be our wrestling names. I actually don't like that. That's terrible. Let's shop that. How dare you try to point out red flags on a game so the gamers can make informed decisions? Hatfile says, I'm watching the replay and I must say you speak facts. I was about to pre-order Crimson Desert and I'm glad I discovered you. I appreciate that. I'll try to my Portal when it drops. It will be wild if it's streamable. Took a screenshot of the pop-up. Wait, hang on. Panthorius. there's no way for me to say this I'm not trying to be condescending. Do you understand how cloud streaming works? Because if the pop-up is within the engine itself and how the game is running. If you cloud stream it, you're literally playing it. It's like running on hardware somewhere else. Internet connection is going to be more dependent upon the experience that you have. You're conflating those two things. The game having trouble running on a PlayStation and pop-in won't have an effect on streamability because that's more dependent upon your connection. You sound exactly like Triple H with some of those ideas. Everybody smooch your PS5 Pro. Nick, come on, dude. That's a great way to get an infection. You shouldn't be doing that. You don't know where that PS5 Pro has been. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know it's in your house and it's on the shelf, but still, it could have been anywhere before that. He saves the 5070 for games like Slay the Spire 2. It's so true. People are like, why are you playing on the Pro? You have a 5070 Ti. I save it for games like Slay the Spire 2. And what was the other one I played? Moonlighter 2 Early Access. Oh gosh. What do they do to the pros in the factory? You don't want to know. You don't want to know, brother. What do you mean cloud streaming isn't literally like running the game from the thin air? Well, the game would be actively running. And thank you for the bits over there. 100 bits from Panthorius. So Wired Rope gifted and Panthorius did bits. You guys have a minute and a half on Twitch to roll the hype train over. Come on, Twitch. It's time for you guys to have a strong day. You let YouTube win like every day last week. He got it for playing Pac-Man. That's exactly right, Gritter. Lonan's waiting for GTA 6. That's right. We definitely need to stop this pre-order business in 2026. Y'all want to wish list items? Go for it. Stop pre-ordering. I've always liked that about like the Steam trailers. Wish list today. Wish list today. Wish list today. Like their vibe is more around that. And Panthorius drops a 5 bomb over there on Twitch, and he rolls the hype train over. Boom. Keep it going, boys. We've not had a high-level hype train over there in a while. There's 91 people watching. It's a good day to go crazy on Twitch. Also, when you do that, you're enabling more and more people to watch over there without ads. Whenever you're subbed on Twitch, you won't see them. What's the face-off now? It's 24-18. YouTube, they're nipping at your heels. I currently owe YouTube 1. Chrono says, that's what I do. Unless it's a game that I know I'm getting and pre-order bonuses are good. Otherwise, I wish list. Yes. Have you watched the Hellraiser trailer video game? You can wishlist now on PS5. It's crazy. I have not. You said Twitch is purple. Yeah. Wishlist is to remind you when it comes out, and then you look at reviews, and then you decide to purchase. That's right. Yeah, Detective Seeds told you that poor HDMI port's about to get violated. It's the PSSR update's going to have Nick doing some unholy things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's... Everybody say a prayer for his soul. He said the T word. That's right. We try to avoid saying that word on YouTube. YouTube doesn't like that word. If you guys are just tuning in, we've been talking about a variety of topics. We were talking about Crimson Desert, and we basically have it on very good authority now from Digital Foundry themselves. Even Pearl Abyss's head of PR seems to be saying, nope, you're not going to get console footage. And Behemoth drops a 5 bomb on Twitch, and you're now 3 away from the next milestone of me owing somebody a member. I did try the Pragmata demo. I really liked it. I thought the combat was dope. I didn't think I was going to vibe with the combat. It's kind of sick. Guys, you got 3 minutes to roll the hype train over on purple. Is that a thing on YouTube? Yes. Don't say the other platforms' names. Yes. And Jackie, yeah, I'm not saying the full username there. Oh my gosh. Is that a brand new account to troll? It's a 4-hour-old account. Thanks for the Prime. I'm not saying your dadgum name. That's gross. Thank you so much, Jackie. That's just what I'm going to call you. Mr. Jackie, thanks for your Prime. The child's voice. The child's voice is a little bit grating, and, put some pants on. You know, it's a robot. I don't care. Can we just not do this weird thing? Let's just not do the weird thing. Just, you know, it's a video game. What are we doing? Why do we have to have this kind of weird stuff? It's like, I don't know. The movement was way too slow. It is different. It's not like hyper action oriented. That's for sure. Yo, Milk Dud comes in and puts us at 49. Thank you for 29 months, Mr. Milk Dud. I appreciate you very, very much. I wonder who came up with the wrestling moves in Crimson Desert. I saw them. Oh yeah, you can like suplex or whatever what one move is. Like goes way up in the air and like slams down on the ground. It's pretty cool. It is. It looks super fun. That's the one thing about Crimson Desert gameplay that has my attention is the combat. They've had my attention with the combat since moment one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to tell you. That's been one of the concerns. Is like, oh wow, that combat looks crazy. That combat looks fast, and there's enemies everywhere. And then people finally getting their hands on the game on console, and it's like, well, Digital Foundry, and it's like even on the Pro, those areas don't run. And there it is, Pearl Clutch Abyssers, 50. Nice start to the week. And Chrono says, choo choo. Thank you, Mr. Chrono, for using your Prime over there on Purple. It's almost tied. It's 26-25 between Twitch and YouTube. Who's going to take this one home? I basically owe YouTube 2 members now. You guys get a bonus member if you get 100 in a day. Remember that. I'll only owe you 4 if we get to 100. But if you get 100 for your platform, you get a bonus. And thank you for the 100 bits, Mr. Solemn. I would like a game where you journey with your daughter, but the internet would surely make it weird. No, they wouldn't. I mean, what are you talking about? The Last of Us Part 1 is basically that. Nobody would make that weird. It's weird when it's like, I don't know, the like anime style games where like they are half clothed and their face looks like a child. That's the weird stuff. And thank you so much, Com Brom, coming in with a Prime and ties it up 26-26, and the hype train has concluded over there. Thank you, boys, so much for all your contributions to the hype train. Y'all are the best. Have you checked the Steam charts in the last hour? It's at 28,000. Hang on a second. Can I back it up to the previous? Where's the previous Monday? So at this time of day, 28,000. Last Monday at this time of day, it had 37,000. So yeah. We're talking marathon. I know people don't like talking to player counts, but it's definitely worth talking about. So this would just be another mark of decline. They're literally trying to get people to get into the game right now for the Cryo Archive grind, okay? And what we have here is, this is last week Monday at 1500 UTC. They had 37,000. So right now it's 1500 UTC, 28,000. So it's basically 10,000 less at this time compared to last week. Now, Monday is not an indication of much. Monday morning, Monday afternoon is not an indication of much. But that's another sign of decline. That, like, you have less players playing right now on this Monday than were playing last week at this time on Monday. Again, the concern isn't about, like, time of day and total count. The concern is trajectory. Jeez, Lono, get a job instead of looking at those charts. Big red flag. Yeah, Jez and others are finally starting. I'm not calling out Jez, but Jez and lots of other folks are finally like, yeah, these are red flags about Crimson Desert. I'm so glad that other people are saying it. It's not just me now. I'm not the lone gunman out here as like being a hater as on Crimson Desert. Other people are finally taking notice. It's like, thank you. Golly, I felt so alone out here. It's like, is anybody else going to say anything? Like, you know, Jiminy Christmas. I run the most graphical games at max settings, and my card never goes above 60 degrees Celsius and doesn't even push my card. That's using 1440p monitor and using DLSS 2.25x 4K resolution. We appreciate you turning chat into your own PC Master Race diary. That's great. You can check in tomorrow about, what your RGB colors are. What do you think the turnout and reception of Marathon's event Saturday told them? That people don't really care. I don't know. Do you ever have anything positive to say? Yes, I do. Next question. You showed us how many issues has Crimson Desert. I'm not getting the game until they fix that. Yeah, I have praised Resident Evil Requiem. I think it's front runner for Game of the Year right now. Ghosts of Yotei Legends, awesome free update. Played it, loved it. I've rolled credits on a bunch of games this year that I have recommended to people numerous times. Sometimes the news cycle gets a little negative, I rolled credits on the first High on Life, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Control. You should definitely check out Control. It's one of the greatest games, and it just got a nice update on PS5 Pro, and Control Resonant looks awesome. Mio Memories in Orbit was okay as a Metroidvania. Crypt Custodian was fantastic. I played Cairn, that mountain climbing game. That was a great little indie title. Definitely check it out. I also played Slay the Spire 2 on Saturday. Super awesome game. I really, really hope it comes to console. Did Slay the Spire 1 come to console? Slay the Spire 1. Is that on PlayStation right now? It is. Okay, so Slay the Spire 2 will almost inevitably come to console. It's awesome. Oh my gosh, it's awesome. It's like Slay the Spire 2 would be the perfect game to cloud stream on my Portal. Like, perfect. So fun. There's some positivity for you. Show Digital Foundry PS5 Pro, new PSSR for enhanced mod. I'm not going to show their video. They just published it. I don't like doing that to other people's content. You signaled, he answered. Lego Batman game arrives early on May 22nd. Pre-order now. Oh, did they push the release date of Lego Batman? Did they push it? They pushed it back by 1 week? Now, why would they go and do that? I think that's the week. No, I can't remember. Which week are we gone? I wanted to leave. Yeah, it's not in the calendar yet. I forget when. We picked May because we can come back and bounce back with all the stuff that happens. I'm just praising my specs because I'm excited for Crimson Desert and already pre-ordered the deluxe edition. I should be able to run this game maxed out. I'm having a very, very difficult time containing my excitement for you. So I appreciate it. Sorry I stepped away. Were you making disparaging remarks about RGB? Yeah. Like, we all know it stands for really I'm just kidding. Don't buy it! These people get so mad. Don't buy it! Don't buy Crimson Desert! I feel so unseen here. Resident Evil will never win Game of the Year. It's a rinse and repeat game. Gosh, don't you have anything positive to say, Dr. Phil? Can you believe this guy, chat? Can you believe it? Nothing but negativity. You don't have anything positive to say, Dr. Phil? I also think it's funny. You think Resident Evil 9 is a rinse and repeat game? What does that even mean? What do you mean by that? It's a great game. I loved it. I was tempted to replay it. The original date was the 29th, but instead it's coming out May 22nd. Yeah, I think I'm going to miss the Lego Batman release. I think I'm going to be out of town. I literally picked the week that I picked because like nothing was happening that week. Dadgummit. Not to change the subject, but Cyberpunk is going to get a PS5 Pro patch. Trekkie, if you want to come in and change the subject, okay, you need to warn us first. The frick do you think this is, man? No, I'm just kidding. What if I did? What if I did that? What if I was like, listen, if you guys want to come in and change the subject, you have to ask permission first. The media team from Marathon bothers me. I enjoy the game, but they really need people to think before they post. Wait, what are you talking about? What did they post? Day 1, November 19th. Helix will be the best place to play GTA 6. Day 1, Helix, November 19th. I'm a bot. Well, at least you admit it. You know? I was this close to asking, are you a bot? Like, did someone program you to come in and promote something that we know nothing about? So I appreciate you owning that. That's very honest of you. You too can put a PC in your living room for the low cost of $1,500. And why would Cryo Archive help the game when you need to be level 25 to enter it? Oh, let's talk about that. Shinobi. Let's talk about that. So this is something that I have felt for a while is part of the sort of the odd structure of Marathon. So basically, the odd structure is the thing that's supposed to like reinvigorate interest is at the top of Mount Everest. It's like the average person's like, wait, that's the carrot? It's all the way up there. Huh? Now, somebody might push back and say, well, that's what Vault of Glass did. I think what Vault of Glass did is it created intrigue and interest in a game that had none. Like the vanilla story of Destiny 1 was like, what the heck was that? Like when you were done in the Black Garden, you were like, what the heck just happened? How is this even, how is this even a thing, right? And then you saw the Vault of Glass raid, and it created like this surge of interest, and it created this like, intrigue within the game. This idea that, oh, these guys have got some bigger plans and some bigger world and lore and everything else. You also have to understand that Destiny 1 sold, 20-something million copies, 25 million copies, like lifetime. I think the initial sales were very high. I don't know exactly where they were. So it created intrigue and interest in a game where people were like, hey, this game's really fun. I just don't have anything to do. Marathon's like the opposite. People are not saying, this game's really fun. I don't have anything to do. People are like, this game's not fun. It's punishing and unwelcoming, and your menus and your onboarding are stupid. Bye. Like, that's not an exchange that's going to be like, oh, ho, ho, ho. You told us the onboarding's bad, the game's too punishing, it's not that fun, the TTK and PvP makes you want to gouge your eyes out, and we're going to get you to come back with the Cryo Archive that you have to be level 25 to engage with. And people are like, you son of a... I'm in. Like, no one's doing that. It's like the game's super off-putting. Let me add this to the total here. Nick, thank you for renewing your membership. Think about it from this perspective. If you listen to the people defending the game, they're basically telling you to not play it. I mean it. The Defense Force and the YouTubers that I have watched that have taken up for this game and have defended it, you guys are quite literally speed running its irrelevancy. Instead of admitting it could be better, more welcoming, better structured, they're like, you suck, you're bad, skill issue, go play something else. Oh, the NPCs, the bots, and the players look too much alike. Yeah, that's just a rehearsed talking point from grifters. They're easy to tell the difference. Oh, okay. So people just keep saying that because they're haters, not because it's genuine feedback. Really good job. Really great way to filter, like, bad, really great way to, filter, like, good criticism or criticism in general, like, out. Just telling people that they suck, play the game on its own terms, or go away. And it's like, well, okay, I will go play something else. Thanks. Yeah, go play something else. Oh, okay, bye. Wait, not like that. 38 months from Vicks Vapor. Like, I remember supplying copious amounts of criticism for Destiny 2. Do you want to know what I never ran into when I did that? Anybody saying, just go play something else. This is fine. Do you want to know what the community did? They rallied around the idea that the game clearly needed feedback and clearly needed to improve. Marathon, on the other hand, is in this weird, like, pre-baked defense force or hate tribalism. People are either literally cheering for the game's destruction along with Bungie with it, or they're defending it to the point where they're like, just shut up and go play something else. And it's like, you are not at all going to win this fight. You aren't. You're just going to push people away. Shroud said it's good, and Arc Raiders is only for dad gamers, which are not real gamers. I think Shroud should remember that he said that he thought Arc Raiders was Game of the Year and that Expedition 33 shouldn't win. Now, some of that he was memeing for clicks, but he was also dead serious when he said Arc Raiders was like the Game of the Year. It was just incredible to him. And now he's turning around and acting like it's Hello Kitty, it's so easy, it's for casual dads. Oh, okay. What's he going to say about Marathon the next time something comes out that has his attention? Is he going to say that Marathon sucks too? Like, I don't know what to say. Homie was all about Arc Raiders, talking about how it's Game of the Year, how it should have won Game of the Year. I know he hammed it up and said that, like, Expedition 33 shouldn't win. We can't let that game win. He was hamming that up for clicks. But when he first said it, he meant it. He thought Arc Raiders was incredible. And now he's acting like it's some casual dad, you know, game for dads or whatever. And it's like, okay. Can you just like Marathon more because it's like it suits your skill set? Like, it suits your skill set of being, like, quick target acquisition, very accurate gamer. Like, he's a high-skilled gamer, and Marathon is certainly, you know, built in a way that's going to appeal to somebody like that more. Arc Raiders was never built for, like, high-skill gaming. I mean, the stuff that I've seen Tfue pull off is ridiculous. But you can tell that's not the way the game's intended to be played. It's like you're playing it at a level that's just ridiculous. And good for him. I like Tfue, but it's also like that you can clearly tell by the way Arc Raiders was built with its hit registration and the way you aim and the way you move. It was never meant to be played that way. That's okay. We don't need to besmirch it and be like, it's Arc Raiders, it's casual dad gamers. What? The only reason y'all talk like that about Marathon because y'all have not put in the time. So, Truth Entertainment Gaming, do you know what the problem with that piece of feedback is? I don't want to. That's the problem. I was on a podcast on Friday, the Gaming Roundtable, and Scrag said that. He's like, well, you've not played enough. It gets better the more you play. And I'm like, I know it gets better the more you play. I don't want to. It's unappealing and not fun to play the game in its current setup. It isn't fun. Nick, thank you so much for the gifted member getting us to 55. He's trying to bait a 20 bomb to 75. We'll see if anybody takes the bait. Crazy part is y'all will do 1,000 videos on the game, but not even give it its time. Yeah. I'm not going to defend covering a relevant game and a new live service game from Bungie. I mean, I covered Destiny for 5 years. I've been covering live service games and their attempts to launch for a decade. People seem to be really butthurt about that. Like, how dare you talk about a game if you've decided you don't like it? What? I've got a video on how to save it. I've got advice on how they could improve it, how they could open the funnel, how they could make it more appealing, how they could make the onboarding not so terrible. If Marathon is not important to nobody, why do 1,000 videos on it? Again, I think you're misunderstanding who you're talking to. I have one upload since the game came out. I did one upload about Marathon. It was basically how to improve the game. A $5 super chat from Broken Earth. No, that's fine. Arc Raiders can be casual dad gamers. That's completely acceptable. Y'all can have the sweaty, grindy loop of Marathon. Have fun. Like, the only upload that I dedicated time to after Marathon came out was, here's how to improve the onboarding. Here's how to improve the early game. Like, here's how to save the game. I think this game is headed for disaster. Here's some ideas on how to improve it. Like, you're basically saying, why are you talking about relevant thing? Like, we talk about relevant things here. That's what gaming news is designed to be about. If you put in time and didn't like the game, I understand. But people who have not put in time are doing most of the talking. Okay, I put it in 6 hours in the server slam and 2 hours in the launch version of the game. And I was like, yeah, this is the primary problem with this gameplay loop. Funny enough, it seems like a lot of people agree with me. And even the first couple of patches that Bungie have pushed out agree with me as well. Like, they literally did things that I said were a problem with their onboarding. I don't know. To me, it's weird to gatekeep commentary on the game. Like, well, you didn't play enough, so you shouldn't say anything. Okay. Do you think that the developers should take that attitude? Or should maybe they should listen equal parts to the people who are playing, because they can commentate on, like, late game ammo economy, like late game TTK, shield power, gun power. Those guys can commentate on that. They should equal parts listen to the people that are like, I stopped, man. It wasn't fun. Imagine if a dealer was like, well, frick you then. Go away then. Or shouldn't they say, wait a minute, we should really listen to all these people who tried the game, and after like an hour were like, I'm out, I don't like it. Maybe listen to those people. They have, I would think, possibly valuable information. Do you want your live service game to have players? Because if you only ever appeal to these people over here that you've already kind of got, they're captured, they're playing, and they're providing you feedback, you can certainly fine-tune the game. But to dismiss everybody else because they haven't played enough, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. That's a bold strategy, to ignore all the people that were like, yeah, I don't like it. Shut up, get good, skill issue, don't understand, read better, play better, get better, or go play something else, dad, casual dad, Unk Raiders. That whole mantra, you might as well just take the steering wheel of the boat and just turn it into the bank and just run the game aground. The posture of the people defending this game, you're hurting it more than the people being critical. You do understand that. People being critical are supplying valuable information, even if it's bad players, right? We've all seen the clip of like Smash JT and Vera Dark. Do you understand that like lots of players play at their level and even their feedback can be informative? I don't like their content, but even they have feedback that you should be like, well, maybe we should consider including that in some changes. Maybe that's valuable information. But just to be like, these people are bad, they need to get good or be quiet or learn to read or be okay with hard to navigate menus and hard to navigate UI. Okay. You just want to insulate your game with this nice little calcified group of people that understand it. Even this is the thing that is so baffling to me. Even bad players' feedback is valuable. Do you want to know why? There are lots of bad players out there. Lots of them. Why do you think skill-based matchmaking is so necessary in like Fortnite and Call of Duty? And why do you think aggression-based matchmaking is so important to the life and the health of Arc Raiders? Feedback from bad players is important. This idea that like you have to be good at a game to provide feedback is hilarious to me, because in a live service game, if all you want are like the most competent and the most skilled players playing, have fun. Have fun. That's the smallest group of players. You realize that, right? Most of the players for the game are bad players. That's exactly right. It's lost on people. Because, yes, it's funny to laugh at the clip of Smash JT trying to snipe with an SMG. It's funny. He's got it coming. I mean, come on. He's got that one coming. And the stream of Vera Dark. I watched a guy react to like her whole stream, and it was funny how often he would dismiss her criticism and say, she's just parroting what grifters are saying. And I'm like, I've heard really good thinking people say some of the stuff that she's saying, though. You're just dismissing everything she's saying as if she's too stupid, too dumb, too low skilled, and just a grifter, so nothing that she says is of value. And it's like, there are plenty of bad players who are going to provide you with really insightful feedback, because bad players play and see things a whole lot differently than the people who eat, live, and breathe and sleep these games. You need all types for a game like this to be successful. If mediocre average players and below can't get a footing in your game, man, good luck, because there's way more of them than there are of like the super adept skilled players. That's why skill-based matchmaking is so frustrating for highly skilled players, because they end up in a very small funnel of just them, and they're the minority. So dismissing all these people that are bad, I mean, go right ahead and dismiss them and laugh at them and meme on them, but I'm here to tell you, you're harming the game more by gatekeeping criticism and feedback and telling all these people over here, you suck, skill issue, get good, your feedback means nothing. Okay. Just listen to the people playing then, I guess. The group that continues to shrink week after week. It's like you can't tell them how to sell their beer unless you're an alcoholic. That's a little extreme. I was talking to people. My friends of mine did a wine tasting at their home. I'm not some posh guy going to like fancy events. I know we said something on Friday that we went to like a wine tasting. It was something our friends did, right? We are friends with people that can do this sort of thing. They're at a different class than we are, and we love them deeply. They're wonderful people, and they put on this wine tasting. And I was talking to some guys yesterday about it and how it went. And the one guy said, broad market appeal wine, they put a bunch of additives and things in there so that the flavor is consistent. So if you buy a bottle here or there, it all tastes the same. He's like, those additives are actually used to make us sleepy. He was like, it's a lot of sugar and stuff, so you'll have some wine and you'll feel sleepy. He's like, but when we go into like smaller vineyards that are pushing for open label, he's like, we're not sleepy afterwards because there's not a bunch of additives and sugar in there, okay? So that's the question. Do you want to have like small market appeal, super niche audience that understands why this is so good? Or do you want to have broad appeal? Because live service games kind of have to have broad appeal. So think of it from this perspective. If the average person tasting your wine is like, it tastes bad, tastes bitter, tastes bleh, you might be like, oh, but it's so good because if you've got a refined palate, you'll really appreciate it. That's okay. It's okay to make a product like that. It's okay to make a product that has like this very narrow appeal. It ain't a great strategy for live service though, because live service just you need people. If it takes a refined palate to speak the game's language and to get your footing and to have a good time, brother, you're going to struggle because you have to have some measure of broad market appeal. I haven't seen you in a while, Kirk. He says, I love Marathon. I played it for 50 hours, but I personally feel like the base of people claiming the game is not unwelcoming, obtuse, or otherwise hard to acclimate to are just not acknowledging reality. It is definitely a game that won't compromise its identity to be more approachable, which is both a positive and a negative subjectively. It is hard to take seriously the people acting like it's only obtuse for unks or casual players. Well, true. There is some objective things you could say about the game that it doesn't communicate certain things well. From the UI to the iconography to the itemization, all of that. It's objectively, at some level, you have to be like, some of this is just designed very oddly and doesn't communicate clearly and quickly. And if you want to dismiss me, go right ahead. Hardcore extraction shooters are like, guys that play hardcore extraction games are like, this stuff's not clear and not easy to read quickly. This is clumsy and clunky. And those are like hardcore players saying it. So at some level, there's an objective measurement you could say there that they're not communicating, quickly, clearly, and concisely. But then you get into the subjectivity of it. And it's like, I do think at some level, you want your unks and your casual dads in there because there's so many of us. If we can't get a single footing and you just keep saying, get good, skill issue, be quiet, you've not played the game enough, I maintain that is more harmful to the game than the negative pieces. Do you want to know why? Every negative video has information in it that's valuable for potentially improving the game. Defending the game and calling people names and gatekeeping and acting like you can't talk because you've not played enough or you're not good enough, you're harming the game because you're actively motivating people to just go, all right, fine. In a month, when the game isn't relevant in the algorithm anymore, all the YouTubers are going to move on and they ain't going to talk about it anymore. They're not making videos about Concord every other week. They're not making videos about Highguard every other week or Splitgate or X-Defiant or any other dead or dying or irrelevant live service game. People move on. Right now, the literal most valuable thing to the game is all the negative feedback. You can mine it for gold nuggets of insight and inputs to improve the game. You want to defend the game white-knuckled to the death, go right ahead. You just drag the game into the ocean and drown it then, and just let everybody providing input feel like rejected, gatekept, and told to go away, and eventually, yeah, they probably will. Eventually they probably will. I'll echo what Lono has said before. The best games are the ones that have spectrum of challenge that brings everyone in and it feeds them what they want. It's remarkable to me how people that are a fan of Bungie and a fan of Destiny, they don't see that. They don't see that. It's like the reason Destiny was successful for more than a decade is because of spectrum. I banged on that drum for the 5 years I covered that game. The spectrum of that game is so dadgum brilliant. People can live in the public spaces and the strike playlist and have a ball and feel rewarded for their time. Why? The loop's great, the shooting feels great, and they're getting stuff for their time. Then there are people that can do Nightfalls and Grandmaster Nightfalls and dungeons and raids and trials. There is this spectrum of engagement, and every spectrum level rewards you according to the level that you're engaging at. It's brilliant. And then you get into Marathon, and they're like, let's take this entire spectrum that made, Destiny really appealing, and let's take trials and raids and smack it together. And it's like, what? Fast TTK, highly competitive, sweaty, loot. There's a raid, there's puzzles, there's an ARG. Why did you put this in a blender? What the It's so convoluted. And that's why I always said, if you picture a Venn diagram, you got a big circle of people that like PvE and a big circle of people that like PvP. The overlap in the middle is so niche, so narrow, so small. I'm like, I don't see how the game can go. I don't see how it can go the distance. Twitch streamers are already saying they have a better time streaming D2 than Marathon. The streaming aspect of the game is certainly hurting it, but that's not the be-all, end-all of a game's success. It's not a very streamable game. It doesn't look very good for streaming. Part of that's because of the compression. A lot of the people streaming it, unless they're on like a really, really good rig that can like really, really weather some of the compression. So like right now, I'm streaming AV1 on YouTube, and I'm putting a lot of weight on the GPU. So when I stream gameplay on YouTube, it looks really good. Like, go watch my Returnal gameplay, right? You go watch, it looks so good and so crisp. Go watch my Marathon gameplay. I'm not a very good player, but it's crisp and you can see everything. The average streamer ain't doing that. They're not pushing the bit rate and the compression and all of that. So the average streamer you're going to watch and you're going to be like, it's hard for me to see what's going on. It's just so visually polluted that messes with the compression and it messes with the clarity. So it's really hard for you to be like, oh, you really smoked that person? Bot? I don't even know. It's difficult to get oriented to what's going on. I've talked about this before with Battle Royales. One of the reasons Battle Royales have exploded and still do so well with viewership is because you're immediately oriented to what's going on. You can see where they are on the map, how many people are left, how many kills they have. You can see the timer on the zone closing. Like, it's like when you turn into a sporting event and you can see, oh, what quarter is it? How much time is left? What's the score? How many timeouts do they have? Instantly, you have all that information. You're like oriented to the sporting event within seconds of watching. It's the worst when you tune into a sporting event and they're doing some kind of a breakdown of a play and you're like, what's the score? What time is it? That. And then they come back out and you're like, oh, there's all the information. Battle Royales are like, here's all of the information you need to orient to the action, the excitement, the tense, the whatever. You can get oriented almost immediately. And that the problem with this game is every map, every environment, every engagement, they all look the same and you have no idea what's going on. You're like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where they are. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know what's happening. There's no way to be oriented because it's just that meat grinder of drop in, kill everything that you see and try to get out. Like, if you watch the streamers who have lots of guns and lots of ammo, that's literally what they do. They just drop in and kill everything that moves. Bot, person, doesn't matter. Just shoot it. Just get it out of here because it's a threat to what we're trying to do. Well, that's not very entertaining. There's no dynamics to that. There's no dynamics to it. It's just shoot on sight. Everything that moves. Just over and over and over and over again. It's a meat grinder. You watch Arc Raiders, and it's like they might be in a shootout. They might be hiding. They might be fighting with bots. They might be doing prox chat. They might be goofing around. They might have just dropped in. They might be defending extraction. Like, there's all these different elements going on. There's like a narrative unfolding in Arc Raiders. I think that's one of the reasons it's such a fun game to watch. Because you have no idea what's going to happen. Smash that button. Yeah, let's try to get to 500 likes, boys. Thanks so much for a strong turnout on a Monday. The PvP players love Marathon because they want to kill. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a facet of the community that could still enjoy that game if you opened up the funnel and got more people playing. You just got to open up the funnel. It's a super unappealing game. It's a super unwelcoming game. I believe that, you know, the game could turn things around, but Astacross has really good streams of Marathon. I love Astacross. He can't carry this game on his back, dude. He can't make it relevant to the wider world. He can't, not by himself. Not by himself. You have to have a hook. You have to have broad appeal. You have to have. You got to have something. You got to have something, and unfortunately, they don't have it. They could. They could. There's a grind. There's the factions. There's the guns. You know, there's a lot about the game that I think could be channeled in a way. But the question is, and this is kind of what started this entire discussion, the question is Bungie happy with the current results? If they continue to decline, will they be happy with those results? What are they willing to do to turn the game around if they determine that it needs to be turned around? I'm not saying that it needs to be turned around. Internally, they might be like, this is exactly what we expected. This is totally fine. I think that's unlikely, but they might. 23 months from Blazin' Bender. Would PvE only in Marathon be realistic? Like 10-year cycle full Marathon experience with 5 releases locked into the complete saga? I'd buy into that. Well, I mean, and I'm going to add you to the total. I don't know if PvE would give it a 10-year cycle, but it would certainly bring a lot of more folks back into the game. Cross's content around this game has been fantastic, but yeah, it's not exactly a movement like Peanut can muster. He seems to have gotten bullied by his community out of doing that, sadly, though I don't blame him for not wanting to deal with it. They shouldn't be doing that to him, though it sucks. Well, I don't think there is an ought or an ought not here. I don't think there's an imperative on the audience to not do that. The audience is doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're providing feedback. He's an entertainer at the end of the day. And if the majority of your audience is like, we think this game sucks, don't stream it, it's more fun to watch you play Arc Raiders, or he's been playing goofy games with his friends as well, like just goofy, silly games. Also, he's been playing Apex with like Nicky Mercs and Hutch. And if his audience is like, hey, we like that more, do that more, he's an entertainer at the end of the day. And as I've said many times in this discussion, and Zubair's echoing it, the customer is always right in matters of taste. I streamed Destiny for 5 years. Anytime I tried to stream anything else, half the audience would leave, and those that remained, some of them would complain. What do you want? That's the reality of being an entertainer. The audience is going to be like, we don't like this. We think it's boring. We don't think it's entertaining. Listen, I love Burnt Peanut. I have so much respect for what he's doing. I think he's a great entertainer. I watched every time he extracted. I watched all the intense moments in his marathon stream. I agree with his audience. It's boring. He ascends to the height of entertainment when he's in Arc Raiders. It's hilarious. All the clips with like what's her name, Gingy and frickin' Hutch, they're so dadgum hilarious. And then you go into Marathon and it's just like, it's I don't know. And you could say, well, it's a vibe and it's the people or whatever, but it's like it's not as entertaining. Sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. I think he's way more entertaining in all the other games he typically plays. That's an interesting alternative perspective. You would know more about that as a streamer, so it's insightful. He can totally stream it. He has every right to stream it, but the audience is providing feedback and saying, we sub to you, support you, watch you, and send tips because you are so funny in these games over here. And if you're not going to do that, we're going to express dissatisfaction. Now, if they're being mean and unkind, obviously that's uncalled for. We don't want people to be jerks, but if they're just expressing their discontent, that's valuable information to Peanut. Kid Notorious says this was not the case. He enjoyed it and don't care. Nobody said he didn't enjoy it. His audience doesn't want him to play it. They revolt and get mad and they get mean. It probably kills his viewership as well. It's a business at the end of the day. It's a business at the end of the day. You can take a fraction of your viewership to stream Marathon. I watched him play it. It wasn't as entertaining. The Arc streams. I watched him stream Arc the other night. It randomly popped into his stream. It was immediately entertaining and funny. It just was. It's like Ninja just dovetailed with Fortnite, and Ninja made moments and went viral. And like Ninja and Fortnite were like peanut butter and jelly. I don't know what it is, but like Burnt Peanut in Arc Raiders, it's the same. It's like he has his dance partner in that game. It just works. It works. He is just in that environment. He's just naturally funny. It's just, I don't know. It's very entertaining in that environment. It does seem to cater more to intense streamers like Cross and Shroud, who go in to win PvP fights more so than having fun. Although Cross is obviously entertaining, but it's suited for skillful gameplay. Yeah, and Peanut's pretty good. I've seen him throw down in Apex. His audience doesn't care what he plays. Really? His audience doesn't care what he plays. So when he said he was playing it privately and not streaming it because his audience didn't want him to watch it, what was that? Did we all fever dream him saying that and doing that? I mean, what, do we all dream that up? What are we talking about, boys? When he streamed Marathon, he averaged 2.3 thousand viewers. Day before that, he streamed Arc Raiders and Apex. He got 3.8 thousand viewers. Homies, look right here in the center where I'm highlighting. You see this? Marathon with Hutch and Timmy. He averaged 2.3 thousand viewers. He averaged the day before that 3.8 thousand. Right the next day. Look at the games he played. Overcooked, Apex, Party Animals, Arc Raiders, the Liars game with the dice or the cards, and a golf game. 4,000 average viewers. Do you see the dramatic difference in his viewership? Marathon, 2.3 thousand. A bunch of random games, including Arc Raiders, 4,000. Homies, the data proves that it's in his interest to not stream Marathon. He gets less. His lowest average right here, 2.3, is Marathon got thrown in here with, what did he do? Oh, this was the Tau Ceti Cup. So the Tau Ceti Cup, I mean, I don't know. They could have put him on the front page or something. Actually, no. Marathon's right here. That's his lowest viewership part of the stream. He peaked during the aisle, which maybe that could have been front page promotion, or maybe he got rated. I don't know. Even this stream where he included Marathon with a bunch of other games, his lowest viewership is when he's streaming Marathon right here, and then for the rest of his stream, he's got way more viewers. Brothers, it is a business at the end of the day. That homie ain't going to stream Marathon when the results are that drastically different. It's not like a couple hundred people. I mean, it's night and day differences in the viewership thresholds. He's doubling his viewership practically playing other games. He cuts his viewership practically in half when he streams Marathon. Supply and demand, dude. Do you honestly think I would have done that? Well, I get all this great viewership when I stream Destiny, but I really want to stream No Man's Sky, so I'm just going to kill my momentum and growth and average daily viewership and average new followers and average subs and, like, do you want to just take a guess at what the revenue looks like on a stream that has half the viewership? You just want to take a guess at what the revenue looks like? It's about half. He is not going to dedicate a bunch of time to Marathon. We now have tangible evidence that the 2 times he's played it recently, the viewership is markedly lower when he's playing that game versus other games. His audience is communicating loud and clear. OMG, I can't take it. I'm out. You just depressing. Yikes. I'm sorry facts are depressing to you. I think that's a personal issue. If pointing out clear facts and data points is depressing to you, you know what I mean? Go see if anybody's streaming themselves knit. It's you? I mean, I don't understand. What's wrong with me pointing out what you just claimed wasn't true a little bit ago? You don't like that? Just moments ago in my stream, you said that it was false. I've not once today said he doesn't enjoy playing it. I've not once stated that. I'm saying that he likes playing it, but his audience responds very poorly when he watches it. I don't know what to tell you. That doesn't seem depressing or mean or scandalous. It's simple data analysis on the most watched streamer right now. Don't care about the game. It's how you do your stuff. Just complaining about everything. Not for me. I'll make it easier for you then. You don't ever have to come back. If I'm too depressing for you, then you don't have to watch ever again. Congratulations. You're not supplying back and forth criticism or dialogue. You're being a whiny little baby about how I'm talking. You can go whine somewhere else. If you want to make it about what I'm saying, disagree with me and have dialogue. You guys that come in and do this, like, you're just complaining, it's just so negative, well, then frickin' leave. It's that simple. Hit the little X button up in the corner. You know what I mean? Go bedwet somewhere else. Jiminy Christmas. I should enjoy this conversation, but they kind of ask for it. I mean, he's the one that came in and said what I was saying was false. And it's like, the data's available. You can use a website like Twitch Tracker. The data's available. Nobody is going to stream a game when they're on a rise. They're not going to stream a game that cuts their viewership in half. No one's going to do that. In 2019 and early 2020, when I was having my moment in Destiny, do you want to know what I didn't do? I didn't stream almost anything else. You're just going to put the pedal down with what's working. You're not going to start doing something else that cuts your viewers and metrics in half. You're cutting your money in half. You make hay while the sun is shining, bro. All of the big boys, all of the up-and-comer streamers have all had their moment, and then eventually decline comes for us all. Eventually the slowdown comes for us all. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna make hay while the sun is shining. You're gonna strike while the iron's hot. And right now, burnt peanuts red hot. You are not gonna see him dedicate almost any live stream time to Marathon. And I don't fault him for that at all. I think he's well within his right and is making the right decision. If I was in his corner and I was in his ear and I was like his manager, I'd be like, don't stream that game. Don't. Nope. Don't stream that game. It's not good. You're turning the audience off. You're frustrating people. You're hurting momentum. You're hurting ad revenue. You're hurting reach. I'm out here negotiating contracts for you to do sponsorships. And if I'm out here negotiating contracts for you to do sponsorships, I can't have our weekly reach and our weekly concurrent viewer averages hurt because you want to piddle around in this game. I can get you more money for every contract I go and negotiate if you keep the concurrent averages higher. I'm giving you the inside baseball here, boys. This is how this works. Ain't nobody on a rise gonna sully their metrics to play a game just for fun, because every contract that his agent or manager is negotiating for him right now is negotiated on his concurrent viewer averages and his reach. He's gonna get more money if he keeps all those numbers higher. There's a reason that people are paying him to play their games right now, because he's the hot ticket item. That doesn't mean he doesn't enjoy the game, and it doesn't mean he can't have fun in the game. I'm just giving you the inside baseball on how streamers are going to operate in these spaces when a game does that to their metrics. Love your passion, Lono. Keep it up. Thank you, Sneaky Platypus. If they don't like it, they can see their way out. Yeah, if you don't like what I'm talking about, you can see your way out. You don't have to come in and like take swipes at me and like announce your departure. You can just quietly leave. You know what? There are very, very long-standing and faithful viewers and members here. They don't tune in when we talk Marathon. They don't like it. I don't care. I don't care. If one of my favorite streamers was doing a stream where they were just like dogging on Yote, I wouldn't watch. I'd be like, yeah, I don't really want to hear that. You know? I don't really want to hear that. I'm not going to tune into that. I get it. If you're having a blast in Marathon, you know, you don't want to hear people talk about it. I'm here to tell you that the people providing negative feedback and criticism, they're more valuable to the game right now than the people running Defense Force. They're more valuable than the people who are telling everybody else to get good or go play something else. You're not valuable to the game. You're not helping the game when you do that. You're inadvertently hurting the game when you do that. You're basically telling people to not provide feedback and to not play. All right. I don't give a darn about streaming metrics, to be honest. This crap sounds like the job I'm sitting at right now. El Paso CDO, homie. The other side of this business, it ain't glamorous. People really, really get like jealous and they think, oh my gosh, I'd love to be a streamer. I'd love to be a content creator. It's fun. You will never hear me complain about this gig. I love that I get to do this. But people think it's all glamorous, and it's like, it's stressful as frick. Some of the most stressed people right now are the people having the most success. Do you want to know why? You got to keep that engine going, baby. You don't want it to slow down. It's stressful. When you're on a rise, it's hard to enjoy the rise because the stress of maintaining the momentum of the rise. It's very stressful. It's people struggling to succeed and having lots of success in these environments. I think they equally feel anxiety, and it can really get to them. It really can. You've probably already spoken to this, but what's your prediction for the future lifespan? Do you think this Season 2 happens and by Season 3 Sony basically pulls the plug? I think if they're internally unhappy with where things are, I would imagine all content planned for the year will ship. But if the game makes it out of this year, I'll be so surprised. I just don't see it. I don't see I just looking at the numbers, I just can't see them generating enough revenue. I'm not trying to bash and be a doomer and hate on the game. I've just tried to tell people. I was like, I just don't see a large enough player base to generate enough revenue to justify the game's existence. You got to justify 200 to 300 people supporting this thing, making, testing, and shipping content for the next year or more. I don't see the numbers. I don't. Oh, all these niche games. This could be a niche game. Bungie's operational costs are not cheap, man. I just don't see it. I just don't. If the content's made and the content's ready, they'll probably ship it and they'll probably try to break even. I expect seismic changes, honestly. I would expect them to maybe do free-to-play weekends, maybe offer the PvE option. You got to try to get people in this game, and you got to start trying to make some money because, I don't know. I started Blades of Fire. I like it, but the map sucks. Now's a terrible time to play Blades of Fire. They're doing a big, huge free update in like May that's going to completely change and revamp the game. I would not play Blades of Fire right now at all. They just tweeted something today. Let me see if I can get you a date. I would not play Blades of Fire right now. So, May 14th, Blades of Fire is getting a 2.0 moment. I would hang that game up until May 14th, brother. I think this game has tons of potential. I'm thrilled that they're doing this. I played the base game and thought this game could be really good. It had a lot of rough edges. So they're going to be really, really revamping a lot. I would wait until then to play it. I found this awful cool game that I think you'll enjoy. Grind Survivors. Okay. Yeah. Yes. I want Deep Rock Galactic Survivor on PlayStation so bad, and I want co-op so bad. If this doesn't have co-op, it probably won't get much playtime from me. It looks good, though. I played a lot of Soulstone Survivors, and I really liked it. This being in, like, the twin-stick shooter... I like the idea here. This looks dope. I'm skipping ahead. It's out now? What? This just came out? That looks sick. I wish it was freaking co-op. It's got a 4.76 so far on PlayStation. It's on sale for $11.24 right now if you have PS Plus. Let's see how it's doing on Steam. It's got 100% from 22 reviews. Whoops. So the first 20... Whoops. That's not what I wanted. So the first 22 people that have reviewed it, my Windows is just such a glorious experience. Single player. Did you play Big Fry's video game? It's pretty good. I did not. I didn't realize he had a video game. I'm going to wish list that so I don't forget about it. That actually does look kind of fun, especially on the Portal if it's cloud streamable. That's like the perfect Portal game. Soulstone Survivors had like potential. I just kind of got bored pretty quickly. Somebody was asking about the Starfield news. There's not much to discuss. They're apparently going to announce the big update this week, which is going to be not Starfield 2.0, but it's going to be like the DLC that was supposed to come out, I guess, last year. They said one big expansion a year, and they didn't hit that. Oh, Kirk says, by makes it out of the year, do you mean like servers go offline or just becomes very procedural in terms of season? Oh, like if they're updating it and giving it content and having lots of people assigned to it at the studio after this year, I'll be surprised. I would imagine right now internally, they're restructuring for Destiny 3. I think if you go and read their update about June, about like in Destiny 2, if you read that very carefully, I think it's clear that June is the last hurrah for Destiny 2. I think they're internally restructuring right now for, I think they're restructuring to build Destiny 3, personally. That's what I think they're doing. I think they're probably even considering just how much bandwidth they can take away from Marathon for that purpose. I don't... Their company is too large to justify having all these like split off projects and stuff, especially with sort of the realm of, you know, layoffs and operational costs and Destiny 2's not doing well. I think their survival as a studio is... I think that's what it's linked to. I think it's linked to that. Like the idea being... You can't be this large and be like doing like a little bit with Destiny 2 and like a little bit with Marathon. It's like the only way a studio this large can justify its existence is with some kind of a big project. A $2 super chat. Do you see Bungie walking back forced resets? I don't know. I worry that's going to be one of the quickest ways to get the game to expedite decline. The small people that continue to play the game, you're going to lose a percentage of them with a forced wipe. I think that's totally fair to say. Let's say on average, they're comfortable with, I don't know. Let's say at the close of every month, there was 200 to 400,000 unique logins in Marathon in a given month. Somewhere in that ballpark. I don't know. Let's just say 300,000 MAU. That ain't great, but it ain't terrible either. I think it's fair to say that your first forced reset, a percentage of those people are going to walk. They're just going to. I don't know what percentage, but a percentage will be like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to do that again. You know? You're going to have a percentage of people. You are going to have a percentage of people that don't see it coming. Not a very large percentage, but y'all know these people. Y'all know these people. There are people right now that are going to be like, herder, what? There's a reset. Like, they're right now clueless that that's coming. They are clueless that that's coming down the road. Those people are going to be like, I'm done. I didn't know this was going to happen. I'm angry. That doesn't... I'm not defending their ignorance. I'm just saying we all know there are players like that are just like super uninformed about a game and they have no idea that that's coming that's coming in the future. You think most people don't know? No, I wouldn't say most. The audience that continues to engage with Marathon is likely... They're likely the type of person that like is anticipating some type of a reset, because if they're an Extraction fan or like a hardcore fan, I think they're probably anticipating that happening. So no, I don't think most people are uninformed, but I could see a good portion. It looks like YouTube's acting up. My chat just disconnected and reconnected. If you guys are having an issue, I apologize. But yeah, I would say, yeah. I lost my train of thought when that happened. Oh, yeah, I would say that most people probably do know that it's coming. Sorry. 1,600, 32,000, 1,600, 39,000. Yeah, so they're still trailing. Monday to Monday, Marathon's behind. So last Monday at this time, they had 39,000 people playing. This Monday at the exact same time, they have 32,000 people playing. So they are still behind even last week's trends. Wipes are a phenomenal entry point for these types of games too. That's true. That's true. given how things are going, I think that's unlikely that you'll get enough to replace or surpass, right? We lost 100,000 people. We gained 100,000. Probably not. Probably not. The fact that Tarkov has a PvE-only mode, I remember debating this with people about Arc Raiders, and Arc Raiders just had the 900 IQ play to have a matchmaking, system in place that just absolutely quietly delivered a PvE looter game in disguise. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. They tricked everybody. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he doesn't exist, right? Usual suspects. That's the greatest trick you can pull with your game, is like you make people think that like they're playing some, extraction shooter with all this emergent gameplay and it's awesome. And everybody's playing like almost like their own version of Arc Raiders. It's almost like a choose your own adventure. Like the way you play the game really influences the output. And they didn't come out and really tell anybody. Like it came out in interviews and stuff, but they didn't market the game that way. They've not put that in their trailers. They haven't made that like a front and center thing to be like, oh yeah, we have aggression-based matchmaking, and you can play the game, friendly and have more friendly encounters than aggressive encounters. Like, it's not pure. It's not like if you play friendly, you only ever meet friendly players, but it certainly creates a trend within your experience. You got the new PSSR 2? No, I'll have to check. It's rolling out. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet, do me a favor and hit that like button. Try to get us to 500 likes. That's super, super helpful whenever you guys do that. And we've just had an amazing day today. I know a lot of you guys were tuning in for the Crimson Desert console update. The update is that you will not see Crimson Desert-based console footage prior to launch. Digital Foundry has said they're not going to be able to do that. John Lindemann answered a question in their Discord. He doesn't believe they're going to be able to. Pearl Abyss does not seem willing to show you the game on the base level consoles. So we probably spent the first 2 hours of the show debating that. So if you want to go back and see that debate, you can. We also discussed Marathon and its current status and kind of where it's sitting as a game. Just sort of breaking down, we don't know if Bungie or Sony are happy. If they are happy, how long can the game go? If the game continues to decline, as it seems to be doing again this week versus last week, it's already on decline again. Just how long can that happen before, they have to make maybe some seismic or drastic decisions? And then Starfield is getting an update sometime this week with regard to the next big DLC, as well as coming to PS5. Those were kind of the three main stories that we covered. If you appreciate the variety coverage, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. A lot of you guys may have forgotten to do that, and the like count's not really going up. So double check that it's saving your like. Aggression-based matchmaking ruined Arc Raiders, made it boring. Embark changed it because so many people complained about not having PvE only, while they changed the entire trajectory of the game to PvE. I'm not sure I understand your position. It sounds like I don't agree with you, though. I don't think they changed that because people were complaining about having PvE only. In the first month the game came out, I kept telling people, I think they match you according to behavior. I kept saying it. I was like, I'm friendly, and I keep encountering friendly people. I've played 30 hours and I've barely shot a bullet at another player. I think it was in there from day one. We suspected it was in there from day one. We kept saying that, I think your behavior determines your funnel. And then they finally came out and admitted that there was some level of aggression-based matchmaking. And people dismissed it. Do you guys remember? It was a guy from the art department said that they match you according to behavior. And people are like, what does he know? He's just an artist. And I'm like, so you think he's just making stuff up? He probably knows the guys in that department, and they probably have had lunch. And he's heard how they do that. And then they finally confirmed it. The CEO confirmed it in an interview. Now, there have been headlines that say it doesn't exist or whatever, but what the headlines are indicating is that it's not a binary. It's not if you're friendly, you get strictly friendly lobbies. That's not how it works. They changed their game development halfway through to being PvE while saying the PvE only element was boring. So aggression-based matchmaking doesn't make sense. I actually think it does but you need to look at the whole picture. You're not looking at the whole forest. You're just looking at the individual trees. You're missing the forest for the trees. All right, listen. They said strictly PvE was boring, so they brought PvP into the game. But aggression-based matchmaking allows people to play the game in that original sort of intended way, but the intensity and the threat of potential being betrayed is always there. There's an emotional injection of intensity sort of always lingering on the corners of the frame, which makes the game, I think, very, very intoxicating. You never know what's going to happen. I was trying to tell this to these guys early on. I was like, one of the reasons teaming up with other players and finding friendly players, the reason that's so fun is because it might not happen. So when it happens, you're like, yes, I found some friendly players. We all extracted together and it was so fun. The threat of PvP is still there and ever present. You could still get betrayed at any moment. You still have a rat at the extraction point. Do you see? They created the same game. They injected it with an ever-present element of intensity, and then they let people play at their intensity level. Can run base PlayStation first for Crimson Desert if that's okay with you. I don't think I'm going to do that, but I'm going to play both. I'm going to play it on the PS5 Pro first, because what I want to know with the PS5 Pro is, like, these sections right here are the biggest cause for concern. John Linneman himself admits, like in these instances in Bug Hill, the frame rate drops. There are tons of these instances in the trailers, and there's almost none of these instances in the Digital Foundry footage. I want to know why that is. Is it really super, super rare that you run into a big crowd? The marketing made it seem like it was going to be happening regularly. Fortresses and villages and castles and battles and boss fights consistently have, like, enemies everywhere. Is Green Room still a thing? I haven't had access to it. We, going into 2026, completely stops doing members-only content. YouTube continues to show members content to people who can't watch it, and it's absolutely damaging to your channel. My channel is on a wonderful switch of things are looking good because we stopped doing that. We do Green Room in the Discord now. So, for the foreseeable future, we will not be doing members-only content on YouTube until they make it not terrible. Even then, I think what we're doing right now is working really well, so I see no reason to change. We do public content and uploads, and we have a good time, and then we go to the Discord for Green Room. And we've got people buying in and saying, hey, I want to support, and I appreciate all of you that have done that. A lot of you guys have become members, and we're at 528 paying members, and we're trying to get to 600. So we've actually seen membership go up, even though we got to do the members in Discord. People seem to like it, It's also really nice when you sub to my channel. You don't have to worry about me overloading your homepage with a bunch of stuff that you can't watch. You can sub to my channel in confidence. You're going to get a live show every day, and every couple of days you're going to get an upload. So we've not talked about it a lot and belabored the point because it was a bummer we had to make that switch, but I actually think the content flow has been significantly better because we made that switch. I think the vibe in the shows has been better. It also gives me more opportunity to put research into the talk show. It gives me more opportunity to put research into the YouTube videos. So you're getting better content. You're getting a better researched show open or a better researched upload because I'm able to dedicate more time to that instead of like morning coffee and Green Room and all this extra stuff. Even the thing I do with Madam now, when you guys hit the weekly goal, this thing over here, that's public, and we do that on Saturday nights. We have my wife react to gaming news from the week, and it's hysterical. So, which, we've been going for about 4 hours. This is usually around the time that we go to Green Room. If you guys want to make sure and try and get this to the weekly goal that we want to be at every day is we want to end at 100. So check your resubs, check your primes. If you want to scramble with your gifted, you can. We'll be going to Green Room shortly. I will only be able to cover Crimson Desert on base PS5 and the PS5 Pro. I'm not going to buy the game a second time on Xbox to stream it on my Xbox. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to spend the entirety of Thursday doing that. I mean, we'll discuss that in Green Room. I could be compelled to do that if we think it's a smart move, because like almost nobody else is going to be doing that, since the console base, the base console footage is going to be extremely absent. I don't know why you're calling me MBG. You're in the wrong chat. Is Project Helix officially a PC? What they described at the GDC sounded like a PC to me, but I'm not MBG, brother. How does Prime work on Twitch? If you're paying for Amazon Prime, you get a free sub every month on Twitch, and it supports me as if you're paying. So you just go and sync your Amazon account with Twitch, and every month you can do a Prime sub. You had to do it manually every month, but it supports me. Buy an S and stream it there. Don't be a coward. It's nice listening to someone who can talk about gaming content without calling people names. I mean, I can get a little gruff with people, but yeah, your account's a month old. Bye. I just never trust it. My man's copy and pasted that. Yeah, he's put it in chat multiple times. I don't know why he's doing it. We're not talking about that today. Is the Green Room available on the base PS5? All right, everybody scramble and get your last minute likes in. I'm going to call it. We're going to go to the Discord. We're going to have some Green Room. I appreciate you guys having a massive, massive Monday as we anticipate this situation unfolding throughout the week. I stand by all of my cautionary declarations about Crimson Desert, and people should not pre-order it. And Pearl Abyss seems dead set on not allowing people to see base console footage before release. So, and we also talked about Marathon, and we also talked about Starfield. How's Green Room work in the Discord? It's just a stage that you listen to. So, yeah. That's where we're going to be heading right now. You can use the Discord command, and you can also use the Discord link below. Somebody's asking me about March Madness. I don't watch. I don't care. So, yeah. All right. Appreciate you guys. Hit like on your way out. I'll see y'all in the Discord. Thanks for a great day and a great start to the week.